comes Mike.
Oh, yes, here comes Mike.
Hey guys, this is Dominique Wilkins.
Hey, this is Sean Kemp.
This is Gary Payton.
Hey, this is Pau Gasol.
NBA fans, what's up? This is Vince Carter here.
Hey, what's up? This is Matt Barnes. If you're an old school NBA fan like I am, make sure you check out the Basketball Time Machine with my man Sean David.
Hello, good day, everyone. Welcome back to the Michael Jordan Time Machine. No, just kidding. The Basketball Time Machine. My name is Sean David. Thanks for tuning in. Let's talk some old school NBA basketball. Now, in the past couple of months, as you know, I'm showing you those XXL videos about NBA legends talking about the greatest players of all time. And I already showed you a 2-hour-long video about NBA legends speaking about Michael Jordan. And I'm not done yet. I don't care. I love MJ stories, and every time I find some new ones, I have to make a video about it. Not only for you guys, but also for me. I just simply enjoy making videos about that guy. He's the greatest. Anyway, in today's video, a lot of clips you know, but also a lot of clips you probably haven't seen before. So that's what's going to happen this episode. Sit back, relax, and let's get right into it. Now the first clips that we're going to take a look at are classic ones, but not everybody has seen them. Alonzo Mourning, as we know, one of the greatest shot blockers of all time, giving you his opinions about and his experiences about MJ. Let's take a look.
That year, what do you think was your welcome to the NBA moment?
MJ.
Took a breath before he said it.
Hey, we just gonna say we gonna start calling them initials.
Initials.
Yeah,
MJ did
when he dunked on me.
Oh,
yeah, he dunked on me, screamed, he flexed and screamed. I was like, man,
I
'cause
remember
had
that
blocked
one.
a bunch of shots, you know, he came on and it was like, I mean, the roar after he dunked on me, man, I was like, okay. If Michael played today, he'd probably average almost 50 a game. I mean, he really would, because you wouldn't be able to touch him on the perimeter, so he'd be shooting a ton of free throws.
Yeah, so when everybody does this like Michael LeBron comparison, it's like you almost can't, it's not the same game that they're playing.
It's not the same game. You're right, it's not the same game.
And the next player that we're going to take a look at is Chris Mullin, one of the greatest shooters of all time, playing alongside MJ in the Olympics and also prior to that. Let's take a look.
The first time I ever saw Michael Jordan was in 1981 at the McDonald's All-American game in Wichita, Kansas. As soon as I saw him on the court, he was different. Every practice session was like Game 7. And he did that relentlessly every single session. Okay, he's dominating us. He's the best player in the gym by far. We see this. But can he do it against NBA players at that next level? 1984 Olympic team, we went on somewhat of an NBA tour against NBA All-Stars to prepare for the Olympics in LA. All the stars showed up. Larry Bird, Isaiah Thomas, Kevin McHale. The best player on the court was Michael Jordan, this junior from the University of North Carolina. And I think ultimately, it was the preview of the greatest player of all time coming on the scene.
I know we about to go to break, but let me ask you a couple personal questions real quick, and just basketball related. I'm talking about, who's the toughest person you ever played against throughout your career?
Well, the best player I ever played against was Michael Jordan. We came out of high school the same year, 81. Word was in college. Fortunately, I got to play with him in 84, 92 Olympics. So by far, the best player. It came after, Magic and Larry.
What was it like going against MJ?
First time actually seeing him live in front of you, he was cat quick. And he had the ability to take one dribble and you try to get there and he was in the air already. You had to do a lot of freaking film work on him because he had every move.
Right.
And he can get by you with one step, and once he get by you, he's taking flight. I think football helped me with that because I wasn't scared. I had to be physical with him. And one thing I like about MJ, he played both ends. And you have some guys saying sometimes, man, it's too tired to play defense, but the whole ideal is to stop the other guy and try to stop him and make him work. And if you didn't make Michael work, he was going to embarrass you.
Stephon Marbury, one of the best point guards and one of the most, I don't want to say Underachievers, but super high potential, that guy. And also his prime was amazing. He was a great point guard in his heyday. And his relationship with Michael Jordan, I mean, we remember the stories with his shoes back in the days, long story. But he gives Jordan his props for the past 6 or 7 years. Let's take a look.
Jordan, Kobe, and then LeBron. It could possibly go a different way with LeBron. I mean, when I say that, let's not make no mistake. I think Michael Jordan is the greatest and best basketball player to ever touch a basketball. I really rarely put Michael Jordan in the same category. I only do because the question is asked. But when I look at Kobe Bryant, I look at a pure mirror image copy, carbon copy of Michael Jordan. You know, what's been done, it can sway opinion. I go off of play from Jordan and Kobe. Why I say those two guys are my favorite of when I watch from old clips of guys playing, and I played against all three of those guys. So I don't speak from a space of, as some people say when I say something about LeBron, hate. I'm like, so everything I say about the game, if I say something, if it's not good, then it's hate. I'm like, okay, well, you're gonna hate me. Okay, the Timberwolves never beat the Chicago Bulls. When I got to the Timberwolves first time they made it to the playoffs is the year I got there. Okay, and then after that, we started making the playoffs. Okay, the first time we beat the Bulls, I was hyped. And everybody was basically trying to tell me to calm down, but I was really excited. I was like, we just beat the Bulls. We just beat Michael Jordan and them. And Doug West, who got to guard Michael Jordan the next time, he's pissed at me. He's mad. All of the other guys, they mad. They like, you don't got to guard him. So the next time we played them, Mike had like 40 before the third quarter almost. And they was just looking at me like, you guard him. And they beat us bad. Because I took the ball and I threw the ball in the bleachers, and Dennis Rodman and them, they was all talking bad about it. It was like, this little mother, basically, we just beat them. So, you know, he was just like, but him, that guy right there, I became that guy right there because of that. I didn't take the humble approach of beating Jordan and them. But I ain't really give a about them dudes like that during that time. Excuse my language. That was just my mentality and how I got down. I went at them and I just looked at it like that. That's how I felt like how they felt going into it when they was going at the older dudes, and that's basically how I felt.
Now the next clip that we're going to take a look at is from this large interview with Scottie Pippen talking about everything regarding the Bulls and Michael Jordan. And if you know the whole thing, it was tough to watch, but still, Scottie give Jordan his flowers every once in a while. Let's take a look.
In this era? Yeah. Okay, so let's go to the next one. LeBron in your era with Michael in LeBron's era, who does better?
Probably Michael.
Okay, and then with Kobe, I'm assuming you're going to say Michael. Of Michael and Kobe's era. I mean, it's kind of the same. Yeah. So, okay.
I would probably still say Michael would do better because, remember, Michael era, my era, early on, very physical, 85, 90-point games.
That's right.
Different.
That's right.
In today's game, we're looking at some games that'll get to 130, 140.
Insane. Boring.
And so I think Michael would have strived off of just being free. Open,
right?
Not having the physicality that he had to play with it night in and night out.
It wasn't made for basketball, and it didn't exactly have the vibe of something more intimate. But when the Bulls came to town, it was like a rock show had just arrived.
Michael Jordan, the magician, the legend. Today, his airness touches down in Toronto.
It was like our championship. The Bulls were chasing history. We were chasing nothing.
There is a buzz in this building. It will be the biggest crowd in the NBA season this year. Jordan and the Bulls with 60 wins, shooting for the magical number 70.
The night before I had took MJ out. We drank and ate and smoked cigars and really had a good time.
The Sunday matinee game became almost Toronto's superpower. There were some of the remnants of that afternoon.
And from North Carolina, a 6'6" guard, number 23, Michael Jordan.
This was nuts. This was off the charts.
Big bad Bulls come to town. Before Vince, that was the highlight of the club.
And everybody, their eyes were just glued to Michael Jordan. And by the way, those are the Raptors, the home team that's playing over there.
Robertson back to Carlos, look out! Scottie Pippen with the numbers, off to Jordan. Oh, yes.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. You want to stop Michael Jordan, don't let him get on the bus.
There he is, again.
For the first quarter and a half, every time Michael hit a basket, there was a roar. You never heard that.
Stoudemire, Rogers, nice pass to Tracy Murray. Christie, yes. Carlos Rogers with another hammer down in the first half. Michael Jordan, 13 points. David Stoudemire has 14 for the Raptors, 56-54 at halftime.
The first half was like, they looked a little sleepy. Okay, is this really Michael Jordan or is this a hungover Michael Jordan? What is it? Having said that, I still think a hungover Michael Jordan can beat almost everybody 99% of the time, so it didn't matter.
Stoudemire, shot clock at 6, penetrating, pumping, yes! 22 for Mighty Mouse.
I think I said to Leo that, holy crap, is this real? And then we both kind of agreed, well, Michael's going to be Michael.
Jordan baseline again! Oh, ho, ho! Wow, was that quick? Don't ever get him, man. Don't get him, man. Stoudemire takes it strong to the basket and converts it.
Bill Jackson does not like what he sees. David penetrating with ease.
89-86 Raptors. Jordan in the game, and wow.
It's about that time, Rod. It's the fourth quarter.
Michael had this kind of radar. It's almost like this early warning detection system. Oh my goodness. Here comes Michael Jordan. Raptors battle, though they battle back.
Stoudemire for 3. Yes! Raptors by 1.
Look, sports team's about selling hope, but at a certain point you have to win.
Well, here we go. 3 minutes left in the game. Jordan.
Every time he touched it, I double teamed him. And he looked over at me and said, hey, didn't I take you out to dinner last night? And so this is what you're going to do tonight? I said, come on, MJ, man, we got nobody that can guard you.
Jordan, tongue hanging out again.
When the tongue came out, look out. That was it. It's over. It's over. I've seen it so many times. It's over.
He looked over at the Raptors bench, just gave him the stare, the Michael Jordan look.
Michael's waking up, doing Michael things, staring down the Raptor bench and looking at Darryl Walker and Ian Walker have a thing going.
Oh my goodness, Michael Jordan again. And he just came back and ran by the scorer's table and said, ooh, that was a good one.
Stoudemire.
Nice pass.
Tie game. 35 seconds left in this game. Jordan, watch out for him. There it is again. He does it again.
Alvin Robertson just shaking his head. He goes, I can't do any more than I did. I was all over the man.
I remember a key basket on an inbound play. Tracy Murray coming off a high screen around the top of the key.
31.8 laps. Murray. 109-108. If they can beat the Chicago Bulls, it would be the biggest win of this young franchise.
Raptors take the lead. I'm thinking, Bulls are going to find a way to win this. Bulls are going to find a way to win this.
I was sitting in the stand. I had a great lineup of that last-second bank shot from Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan.
With an incredible bank shot from the right side.
And the Bulls make it 7 straight wins. Jordan. Kerr, 5 seconds. Pippen will have to let it go. 3. Steve Kerr. No. Jordan. Yes.
That's what Michael Jordan does. And he did it again. Another dagger, a knife right through the chest.
He said, oh no, we just lost the game on a last-second shot.
Even some of the players didn't know. They were looking around going, whoa, 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 whoa.
And luckily the game wasn't 48 minutes and 1 second, because if it was, then, they would have won, because Mike hits that shot.
But no, after the buzzer Yes, the Blue Jays won the World Series.
A Sunday afternoon game in Toronto. You guys have no idea how difficult that is to win.
I can't speak specifically to the Bulls, but historically for the first 4 or 5 years when they played those noon or 1 o'clock Sunday afternoon games, they had a decided advantage.
Maybe Darrell Walker the night before thought about that when he was taking Michael Jordan out, because whatever it was, it worked.
They love the city. Trust me, the guys love the city.
All I know is that it was a Sunday afternoon game. We had some great wins.
Yeah, I remember, back then when I was with the Charlotte Bobcats, me and Mike played. Mike decided to come and play pickup against us. Obviously, we were kind of sleeping on him because he was in his early 50s, but for some reason, he still felt he was the Mike of old.
Get the cameras rolling. Jordan off the steal.
Anyway, he really didn't go by anybody. He really wasn't dominant, but he was talking all the trash in the world. So you know me, I'm trash talker of the year in the Big Three. So obviously I did trash talk back to him. One thing I said was to MJ that I do remember was, that was the past, this is now, and I will bust yo, you know what. Hey, I will bust your which is a mistake, because if I didn't know anything about all Michael Jordan's accomplishments, I knew that day, okay? He told me about all the championships, everything he's done, sport, points scored, and he reminded me that I was on his team, okay? So at that point, I felt that trash talking was won by him. You're right, I'm on your team, you do pay my check. We destroyed his team in the scrimmage, but he won the trash talking. I think that's the first time in life I ever lost a trash talking match. I honestly went home that night and was hoping I didn't get a call during that night, said MJ has released me. Because I did say some things in my trash talking to defend myself. All in all, it was not a good career move because I got traded the year after that. So maybe he was still thinking about it when they traded me. I haven't spoken to Mike since I got traded. And I lost my shoe deal, so hey, maybe. I don't know. Maybe that was it.
This is how cold MJ is. I'm giving y'all, I've never said this. One dude, this got word around, MJ, we all hanging out afterwards. One street dude come up there, got a bag of 100. MJ, let's gamble. MJ looked at him. He said, I ain't got a lot of time. Slip a coin for it, heads or tails. Dude looked at that 100 and said, I'm good. He thought he was gonna go back and forth with him. MJ ain't got time for that.
100 racks?
He looked and said, let's flip a coin for it, heads or tails. Which one you call it?
Right.
Dude looked at that money like you could tell he had all the hood's money. He was like, man, I can't do this, I have no flip. He looked, I'm good.
Do you think LeBron James is up there with the greatest players of all time?
Yes. I will, depends on how you see, because according to the position that he plays, when people start comparing him with Jordan, then that's not a fair comparison, because Jordan is far more superior player and a very, very tough league and very, very very creative.
Sure.
I mean, that's not taking anything away from LeBron James, because he's a great player, but it's not a fair comparison, because I think Jordan is much far superior player.
Okay, and just one last question. What was the most memorable game in your entire basketball career?
I would say our first championship against the Knicks, when Game 7, when they finally blew that whistle that the series was over. That was my most memorable. Looking at all the banners coming down, because I've played in the finals in college 3 years. In 1986, in the pros, I went to the finals against Boston and we lost. So I've been on the other side for so many times. So to finally climb the mountain, it was my most favorable moment.
We really beat them that day, but the next day, it's been the only time in my life I've been in a scrimmage and my team did not score in the whole quarter. Oh yeah, they were. So why would they come out that pissed the next day?
Yeah, exactly. Unless they really lost, bro.
They would talk. They were smacking the floor, talking shit to us like it was a championship game.
Who was the scariest motherfucker in that gym that Jordan, the young guys were like?
Jordan.
Jordan.
You know, like the drills that you do every day just to become a better player, and you do them hard. Like, he was playing that way in the game. He was denying, seeing the man in the ball, turning, talking on defense, elbowing guys as they came through the paint. Like, we saw his greatness, and he shut anyone that he was checking down. It was not a game. The same with Pippen, the same with Ewing. Those guys came out and played.
I never seen anything quite like that. Like, guy goes off and plays baseball for 2 years. Hey, I want to play basketball again. 10 days later, he's getting 55 in the garden. It's like, what's happening here? You know, so I would go with him in any one game. But there's a number of guys, you know, comparison is the thief of joy. And I know people love the comparative talk, but I think oftentimes when we get into those conversations, unfortunately, people feel diminished. And I don't think you or I or Blue mean that in any way. We're not diminishing anybody's career if we don't pick them. We just think like some of these guys are just, you know, remarkable players.
By the way, who's your favorite teammate you ever had? And who was your best teammate you ever had?
Wow. Well, can I give them both to Michael? I mean, I can't knock him and say he was a bad teammate. I can't knock him and say he wasn't my favorite. I mean, we had a lot of success. So I would say he probably fit both of those categories.
It was, I'm not going to say it was overdue, but the timing was good for Michael because he realized, you know, he couldn't do it all by himself. You know, I think Michael, he knew about team at Carolina, but I don't think he really mastered it until guys like Horace Grant, Pippen, guys like that. Cartwright was a big part of, you know, the conversations with Michael. He had to learn through the Pistons, really. But once he got past that, and once Phil was in place, and he trusted his teammates, trusted Paxson and Kerr and those guys, he was driven. He would drive them, but yeah, all those guys made him better. They enhanced his game, and that's why they started to win. Now, Lakers were done, Boston was done, Detroit was kind of over. Hakeem Olajuwon did what he did, but the league was, you know, was right for Michael. Utah was still there. He had some challenges, but once he tasted the honey, he wanted some more. That's where he is.
He won 2 chips with no All-Stars.
Yeah, he once he tasted, that's it for him. He's like locked in. It's like golf for him. Once he gets locked in, that's it. And I've never seen one player that challenges everybody, like in your face.
And the next player that we're going to take a look at is Jalen Rose, who obviously played many times against Michael Jordan, especially when he was playing with the Indiana Pacers, a very much underrated team back in the day. And yeah, he talks about what it was like guarding MJ and who he got the task from. Oh yeah, Larry Legend. Let's hear what Jalen has to say.
Larry Joe Bird looks at Jalen Rose, and he like, your role right now is to go guard number 23. And I was like, oh, okay, that's a huge responsibility. You know what I'm saying? First off, like serious? Like, oh, you trusted me with that? That's awesome. Okay. But then I didn't read the fine print. And that was, if he score on you twice, then I'm taking you out. Like straight up. If he score on you twice. Now just think about it. When you talk about greatest players and scorers of all time in the NBA, what do you rank?
You're number 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Right. So your coach tells you now, because this is my role. See, people see me later in my career when I was basically washed and playing against Kobe. And by the way, he's top 10 all time as well. In this series, that was my role. I actually played good defense on Michael Jordan. And because I knew in my head, if he scored on me twice in a row, I was out the game. That was the rule.
Hold up. I have a follow-up question. What I would have said to Larry Joe Bird, were I in your position, I'd be like, does it count if I foul him? Is that twice in a row?
Does that count? Does that count if I foul him? Does that count? I don't think that counts, Coach. I don't think that counts. I'm glad you went there, sir. You ready for this? That documentary is about 1998. And I guarantee you, in a lot of those games, I had a lot more fouls than points. That's exactly what I was doing, Jacoby.
Who is the GOAT basketball player in your opinion?
Michael Jordan. Period.
I don't need to laugh at y'all.
I get it. Everybody says LeBron James and Kobe Bryant. The young gonna say my son, LeBron James, because they know he hasn't seen Michael Jordan.
I've seen Mike. I haven't seen as much Mike as y'all.
Yeah.
Whatever meeting y'all came together and had as y'all generation to say Michael Jordan just never had a mistake made on the basketball court is unbelievable to me. It's closer than what y'all making it seem between LeBron and Michael Jordan. It's closer. It's not?
I say it's not because of the competition level. And I'm not, LeBron is one of the best ever to play the game, but when you run around different teams, play with this guy, play with that guy, Mike never did that. Never did that. He stayed and got Pippen, but other than that, it was just they were good players, but LeBron James, Kobe stayed 20 years with the Lakers. LeBron he's always running around playing with Wade, Chris Bosh, they won, and
Kyrie, Kevin Love.
Kevin Love.
So Michael or Sam, whoever, they were senior leaders and junior leaders, they picked the team. And the first day, you as a freshman, you just sitting because they're not picking you.
Mm-hmm.
So you get on the court in. So about a week later, Michael's picking and he's like, I got New York. They used to call me New York. Like, I got New York. I was like, oh shit, I got picked first. He's like, first, it's 20 pros in the gym.
Yeah, official.
I was like, oh, it's good. I was like, so my confidence was boosted. So now we playing, right? And we winning games. And so every time we win, you go get water. And I'm watching Mike and he's standing in the middle of center court. I'm like, yo, what are you doing? He's like, I want the motherfuckers to know that I'm never leaving the court. I'm gonna be the first to stand here and the last. I was like, all right, so we both gonna stand here. And I was like, this is what we doing. This is how we doing it.
This is what we doing.
Yeah, he was the first dude that I met that could back up his trash. Like every day. Every day.
Always a talker?
Always a talker and always backed it up though. Like, and he really took more pride, especially then, in his defense. He's like, Walter Davis, you're not scoring today. You're not scoring today, Walter Davis. Like that's the type of energy he was on all the time. And when he got to the league, so we had dorms and our dorm numbers don't change. So if you had dorm number 8, it's the same phone number next year. You're just a different person. So when he comes in town, this is before the Instagram and you'd hear the phones go, bring, one, and somebody hang up, bring, and you just hear it going down. So it's him, and all he say is, school's in session, boom. School's in. So everybody come in the hallway and be like, Mike's here, right? Mike. So he'd go and he'd call each room to let her know, come to the gym.
School's in session.
So the gym would be packed. We'd have 4,000 people watching our pickup games.
That's crazy.
Michael and I had this conversation recently. He said, okay, now that you're retiring, you can come out with me and play golf. I said, no. He said, you're gonna have to play golf. Yeah, not with you though. I've been playing since college. Like, you wanna get me out there and just kill me. Like, no, I'm not a golfer. I'm not gonna play. I'm a realist.
Ron Harper used to give Michael the numbers. MJ, we're in a practice. Phil said, tell him to go home, and he didn't know why, and he waited. And he was like, all right, we're playing for minutes, scrimmage for minutes. And MJ came in, nah, you ain't putting me out. And he had on regular tennis shoes. They looked like Vans, but they were Nike. He had his sweats cut and rolled at the bottom. He thought he was fly. He wasn't. But You know, you don't say nothing to the Messiah. And he was like, yeah, put all the Pistons on that team, Wood Harp, and Harp was pissed. And we're playing. All of a sudden, I'm running back, and MJ gets a steal. And he's about to do the right-hand jump. I said, oh, I know exactly what dunk you're going to try. I'm getting this. I don't care. Drop, step, and turn around, about to jump. And as I'm about to jump, his midsection is moving past my face. And you know, you try to bring yourself down. He was like, block this, bitch. Boom.
When you took the job as the head coach of the Bulls, you came as the assistant. I got drafted, and I got the phone call that you were going to be the coach. Talk a little bit about what that experience was coming from an assistant to head job, and then what changes you had to make when you went from that role.
Doug kind of relied on me to fill out the defensive forums and lead the team in discussion. I came in at the same time with Scottie Pippen and Horace Grant. I had a relationship with a couple of rookies that turned out to be super players for the Bulls. I was a systems coach. The idea that we needed to have something more than individual plays was, I think, really the trial. And it was through using a system that allowed for other people to be featured in an offense. Telling Michael Jordan that, hey, we're going to run the system. You're not going to be a scoring champion. And he said, you mean it's going to be equal opportunity offense? I said, yeah, well, everybody's going to be part of the offense. So what happens when the 24-second clock runs down and Bill Cartwright has the ball in his hands?
And the next clip that we're going to take a look at is from Reggie Miller. And just a little recommendation from my side. That clip is taken from a segment called, I think, Reggie Miller Hall of Fame Career. I think it's on YouTube like for over 10 years. And it goes on for 20 minutes and it's super interesting. Obviously also talking about Michael Jordan. And just the rivalry between MJ and Reggie Miller, I loved it. And what I really like about Reggie Miller, he always comes clean, always says that he was jealous of Michael Jordan. He wanted to have what MJ had. And I like that about him. He keeps it 100. So let's have a look.
Michael Jordan, what do you remember about playing him when you guys were on the floor and he was guarding you and you were guarding him? And I'm sure some terrific shootouts over the years between just the two of you.
You know, looking back over 18 years, you'd have thought that Michael and I, the Bulls and the Pacers, would have played more than once in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. We only played once, and it was that epic 7-game series. You're measured by your competition. He is clearly, and in my opinion, the best basketball player I've ever seen to date. And I knew that I had to bring it each and every time I stepped on the court when I was going against MJ.
Were you friends?
No.
Now Michael Jordan and Reggie Miller having a go at it. And I mean, we got fist throwing. Here come the benches. Bo Hill is out there. Bill Jackson's going out there. There'll be fines handed out all over the place here. But more importantly, what in the world ignited this?
We weren't friends.
Talk to each other on the floor?
He might have been the one player I didn't talk to.
Really?
Yeah. Because he might have been the one player who could really embarrass you.
And he could come back at you pretty good too.
Yeah, he could come right back at you. I wanted what he had. Him being the best, the championships. So I watched, I listened, and I tried to learn a lot by playing against him.
And what did you learn? What couple things you took away from what he did or how he played or how he acted?
He is cut from the same mold as Magic Johnson. And when I say that, and Larry Bird, all three of those players, win by any means necessary. And they will do whatever it takes on the court to win a game.
And you adopted that?
I tried to adopt that, yeah. You had to be textbook when you played the Bulls and you played against Michael.
Swept by the 90s in 97 by the 69 win Bulls. What was Mike like in his focus in that team at that time?
Mike is Mike. Like,
plain and simple.
Mike is Mike. I remember, I don't know if he gave us a 50-piece, I think, or maybe 40-something. And I'll never forget Cal Bachaney being, like, distraught. And he walked in another room, like, after the game. I was like, man, get out of there, man. Come on in here, man. We good. But, you know, Mike is Mike. Mike is Mike. Mike was able to dominate when he needed to and how he wanted to. And, you know, Mike was a mismatch. We know that.
Scottie, when did you first learn that Michael was sick?
Well, we all knew kind of at our morning sort of get-together. Wasn't really a shoot-around, but we would meet and just have breakfast together. So we all knew, and it was kind of thrown up in the air whether or not Michael would be playing. But
so you guys thought he might not play?
Yeah, well, some of the guys did.
Right.
But not me. But it was one of those situations where really it was a 50-50 chance that he may or may not play. But knowing Michael like I did and the years that I had spent with him, I kind of knew he was going to make an effort. And, come game time, he showed up, he was on the bus and pretty much did his same routine. You could see that he was real sluggish and laying around. So I just felt like I'm going to have to give him a little bit of a lift to get through this one tonight.
We saw in the highlight, and Stu Scott says that you were very aggressive early. That you knew that you had to sort of set the tone because he would not be able to in the same way.
Yeah, I did, and I could just see it in his eye. He was weak, and I just wanted to be more offensive minded and stay aggressive. I got on the post and was trying to do the things that I could to keep us going early, and knowing that Michael, he had always been our closer. So I knew down the stretch I was going to need some of that Jordan-ness to come out and some of his heroics. And, it was just one of those games where he finally was able to find himself and, get that second win. And once he got going, it was one of those games that you just wanted to be a part of. You just will never forget how he was able to find such energy and such desire to win that game for us.
You think of Jordan, you think about the dunks. You were a shooter.
Our games were vastly contrast. His was more power, dunking. Mine was more shooting, finesse. But for some reason, I think my style at times irritated him because I was in constant motion. He used his power to control players and to keep them where he wanted them.
He had great torque.
Yes, he did.
Just the way
and let me say this about Michael. Probably, if not one of the smartest basketball players. You talk about his ability to be athletic and all that, but he was a very smart basketball player.
He thought the game through.
Yes.
You thought the game through.
And he knew what your weaknesses were, and he tried to exploit them.
McKee gets it in the middle for the win. It's there! 4/10 of a second.
Because that was another game where I felt that we had let slip away, because Michael was being Michael and dominating, along with Scottie and Dennis. There wasn't a lot of time left on the clock. At the time, Ron Harper was guarding me, and I knew Michael was going to switch off when I came up top. And I said to myself, well, they're not going to call offensive foul. So when I came up, I was just so upset that we had let this game slip away from us. I basically just shoved Michael. I just pushed him out of the way, daring the officials to call offensive foul because I was so upset. And when I didn't hear the whistle and I had so much space and I went off to my left and Derek threw me the basketball, and now you just go into mechanics. If I had known that I had that much space, I probably would have shot it differently and probably missed it. But I assumed he was right on my tail. So catch, release, and let it go. And the rest is history.
Michael looking back at him, he flashing that glove sign. He didn't like that shit. That's the shit there. That's you get Michael going, man. When you see that look right there,
trouble.
Oh, you got some problems coming, man. Because now he don't want to talk to you. Now he got something to prove to you. You got number problems.
You get a chance to know Mike off the court?
Not so much off the court, but definitely
battles on the
court, man. Yeah. Definitely battles on the court. I respect him. I got a lot of mad respect for the man.
Man.
I've seen people be physical with Mike. I've seen him have a game plan to stop him. He altered his game plan every night. You couldn't stop him. When we played Mike in the finals, we was trying to engage with him a lot, man. We really wanted him.
Physicality.
We wanted physicality. We wanted to, we was trying to test him, but he wasn't
going for it.
He wasn't going for it. He was focused.
For future references on this Knuckleheads podcast, if we ever mention him, Jay, the GOAT, the best, the greatest, we ain't talking about nobody but Michael Jeffrey Jordan.
Baby.
That's it.
No question.
No, don't get it misconstrued. We don't want to do this every time.
That's my hero. Like, that's my guy. Like, I ain't no sucker, man. I can't help what I love and what I care about, what means something to me, and who created Allen Iverson. Like, he helped create Allen Iverson. I love that motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like, I love Michael Jordan.
We used to always say, okay, we ain't gonna let Jordan get 50 on you. But he did. You know?
Yeah, I came up, like, who was the people? Who was the one person or a few people that y'all looked at and was like, I want to be like that person?
MJ was always somebody I wanted to, like, every kid wanted to be MJ, right?
Everybody tried Michael Jordan.
Jordan, of course, was number one on the list.
I used to love Jordan like we all did, you know what I'm saying?
We watch Michael Jordan, we want to emulate him. We watch all these greats.
What made y'all like be like, okay, I really want to hoop, like this is my dream I'm going for?
Simple for me, bro. I was watching MJ every day. I legit, that's, you know, a lot of people say that, and they, you know, nah, that's the real true life story for me. I was watching MJ growing up here in Chicago, WGN sitting on my floor, watching the greatest to ever do it. Like, I'm like, I want to be like Mike, for real. Like, and I'm going out in the hall, in the driveway, in the alley, trying to mimic the moves and doing all of that. And to the point where, you know, when you get a little bit older and you start, you know, seeing what's really going on, you're like, I want to hoop.
Who was the first person when you got to the league to bust your ass?
Y'all know that motherfucking MJ. it was some bullshit. I didn't know it was him.
What was he saying to you guys throughout this, you know, early in the game, leading up to the game?
You know what? Michael wasn't saying much. He just had this look like he was living in his own world. And then, you know, he wasn't even being aggressive offensively as the Michael that I have known or come to know. But throughout that game, you could just see he started to feel it a little bit. And as always, once he started to feel it, we just flooded with the basketball. But, you know, he was very quiet, didn't say much when he went to the bench. He was just kind of in his own world. And for guys who've never played with Michael, I've played with him, so I've seen these moments where he kind of shunned everybody out.
Right.
And that was one of those moments where he was just trying to gather himself and just, you know, stay in the game. We thought at any moment he may go to the locker room or puke up on the floor, but he
It's
does it now.
happened in the
And
NBA,
you know,
friends.
you can see in these photos that I didn't care if he puked up on
Right.
me. You know,
We're like,
it's
let's go.
get it
Well,
done,
here, so
boy.
these pictures. I asked the guys to pull the still pictures because there's sometimes where video is better, obviously, but sometimes I love it when the still picture just captures the moment. You basically carrying him off the floor. What was? Tell me
Well,
what it
was
felt
easy.
like.
You know, he carried me for like 11 seasons.
Very good.
But no, it was great. You know, me and Michael, we had a special bond, and you know, we had been together for so long, and you know, it was just one of those games where it was one of the most important games of our careers. And we
I mean, he's clinging to
definitely
you in this moment.
wanted to-
I've never seen him like this before.
You know what?
since.
I felt that at some moment he didn't really know where he was at. He didn't
Really?
know what he was doing or what was going on, because I think he was probably medicated a little bit and trying to, you know, fight the bug. And
Scotty and his Hawk, and his Dennis and his me, and I think Randy Brown. And, you know, I'm in the small cubby hole in the corner, and MJ said, "Sal, what kind of shoe you wear?" I said, "Oh, Nike." He said, "Oh, what's your size?" I said, 15. And he looked at the shoes I had brought in from Toronto and was like, "Oh, okay." And I'm thinking, why? Okay. Next day I get in, my locker is full to where I can't sit down. Oh. The whole locker is stacked with Nikes no one else has yet. And only Alonzo Mourning wears 15. So I got them before Alonzo got them because they came in red and black. I was so happy. I was like, yo, you are the man. You know, he doesn't even understand the way I think about sneakers. It's like, I was like, I would hug you.
So let me set the stage. It's 2003, All-Star game. It's in Atlanta.
Atlanta.
Tell me.
So 2003 in Atlanta, MJ's last All-Star game. And it was, I was...
Janae and I were on our way to grade school.
The NBA, if you would, kind of encourage, hey, it's probably a good idea that MJ starts in his last game. That was a no-brainer for me, but, you know, you go through all the protocols. And I remember walking in All-Star, you know, all of the festivities, you know how All-Star Weekend is. This is bananas, and MJ's in the back doing what MJ does with Ahmad and all those guys. And I walk in, I said, hey, MJ, You know, it's your last All-Star game and everything. You're going to start. He said, no, you earned it. I said, no, you don't hear me. You're going to start because I didn't want to get blackballed. I didn't want the NBA and the world like, how is
How did you
Jordan
take MJ's spot?
Yeah, how is he not starting his last All-Star game?
Yeah.
So he's like, no, you earned it. Go ahead. So I go back in, get dressed, and I'm like, man, there's no way. So I go shoot, and right here, that conversation right there is where I'm telling him, and he's telling me, he's like, you earned it. I said, you're going to do it. So I said, MJ, look here. I am going to walk into the back of the locker room during starting lineups because I'm not. You're going to start. I'm not about to get blackballed. So I started walking in the back, and they call him out. Boom, he walks out, starting lineup, and everything good. Right here, you see patented MJ fadeaway over Sean Marion. I mean, if you notice right here, nothing but net. We tried our best. We're yelling to stop the game right there. It was like 7 seconds, I think. We're just like, stop the game.
Yep.
Well, rest in peace to Kobe Bryant. Being Kobe Bryant, he wanted to win the game, steal the show. So he gets the ball out of a timeout. He gets fouled by Jermaine O'Neal, hits both free throws, and we lose.
Oh my
God! We end up losing that game,
Look
but
at his smile on his face,
it was memorable just watching MJ for the last time in the All-Star game, and I grew up watching MJ and shooting the fadeaway, and he hits it right there in that moment. All-Star game, we were like, NBA, this is it. This is how you close in error in an unbelievable career from MJ. But
so that's MJ.
At the beginning, like, what's up, Mike? Right. Like, damn, what kind of cologne you got on? It smell good too.
Yeah, I was talking shit to him in preseason. I didn't know that they don't play in preseason.
Right.
So I'm killing him. Had about 21. He played about 7 or 8 minutes. Then all of a sudden, we got to play him in the first game of the regular season.
Hit the first 3 buckets, 6 points. Now he got 14 points in the first quarter. Coach called a timeout. Boss Silas said, hey, y'all just gonna sit and watch homeboy over here getting fried? Couldn't even get off the fact that what kind of cologne he was wearing. You know what I mean?
And I get quick 2 fouls, man, within 4 minutes. Man, I sit down, man, I'm at 35, 7, 10.
And it's like 35. Bro, I remember, I literally 42.
After the game, he's like, welcome to the NBA.
We playing, Michael posted me up. You can't let Michael get the ball. At this point, he's the best player in the league. Now I hit him in the ribs. And I broke his ribs by mistake. Right, Mike hit me up. Hey, who's this? Mike who? Michael Jordan. Oh, shit. And he says, yo, it's all right, man. Don't worry about it. It happens. And I said, oh, all right, cool. And I went back to play.
Initial thoughts on MJ and how did you guys build your friendship that's still lasts to today?
I guess, like I said, when I got there and just when the season started, just my work habit and, seeing that I was dedicated, I didn't take nothing for granted. Always on point. And, when you're young, they're going to test you. And knowing the plays, staying afterwards, getting your work in. So I was about work. So when somebody seen you work, I mean, in game, then I didn't play a lot early, but when I got in, I knew how to play, rebound, outlet, set picks, I wasn't looking for them to give me nothing. I was just working. But we just got cool. Probably got more cool because we was somewhere and MJ and a guy got into it. I mean, it was real messy. So it was about a bill. So the guy told MJ, you a rookie, you did that. Why don't you pick the check up? MJ, nigga, you get a check too. Fuck that, you pick it up. So they went at it and that. So it was like a lot of tension. So they almost got in a fight. And I'm like, man, y'all need to cut it out, this and that, man. He get a check. You been in the league before me. So it was a lot of that. And, they got all them guys out of there and took 2 or 3 years. But then he got to start running the team his way. And you see what happened.
I come to All-Star every year. And we take these pictures. And usually, when I was younger, it'd be Bron and Kobe. And they would be the ones talking, kind of leading the room. But this time, it was like Magic, Kareem. We walk out of the room where we take the big picture. You see MJ walking towards us. He wasn't even in there for the big picture.
He just got there.
He just got there. He's walking, and there's more cameras on just him by himself than it is on all of us. And it was like, that's when you really saw the difference of man, this dude the GOAT. When he was walking, everybody was just staring at him. He was walking up, took over the whole situation.
This just showing respect and appreciation for the area you played in. I got one of Magic, I got Moses, Michael. I mean, look, These were the guys I competed against, man. I mean, this is what basketball was all about, so I'm just paying respect to these guys. First time I played against Michael was in college, where he was a freshman. And the game went back and forth, close game all the way through. In the last 2 minutes, this young kid named Michael Jordan took over. He won the game for him. And I said then, he gonna be a hell of a player, you know, as a freshman. His attitude, his mentality, he was a killer. You know, he wanted to take your heart out. I will never forget this. I never had a player to do this. So I remember us going to Chicago. Now we're in suit and tie. We're sitting in the locker room. We just walked in the locker room. Now remember, Michael Jordan walks into our locker room, suit and tie. I'm like, what the hell is he doing in our locker room? Is he coming to the training room? Well, what's going on? So he walks by me, he walks by Kevin. When he get to Randy with me, he said, lace him up, it's gonna be a long night. I'm like, did he just come in our locker room? I didn't know what to say. I was shocked. He had 60 that night. He had 60 points that night. We ended up winning the game, but the scoring performance he put on that night was incredible.
When I first met Mike, I was like in 10th grade, and I went down to Santa Barbara, and I seen him, and I was like, I got by him, and I'm like, this is Michael Jordan. Then he was like cussing. Yeah. Like I was just so like, man, Michael Jordan cussing.
So when I first met him, was the next night after draft night. You gotta go to your city and meet him and all that.
All of a sudden, we get to this floor, and they're like, "Shamiqua, come to the front. Come up here." And we open it. Someone opens the door. It's Michael Jordan. And sitting at his desk, and we go in, and I was just like, "Oh my God!"
It was more my pops though. My pops was going crazy. My father loved. I don't care. My father loved MJ.
I was walking in the tunnel going to the locker room, and he was a couple feet like behind me. I kind of turned and looked, and he just like nodded his head. I nodded my head, and I was just like, what do I do right now?
So when I saw him, I just froze. My stomach was hurting. Like, I couldn't say a word. Like, he was talking to me, and I was just looking at him like, yo, you are the GOAT. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes. I was speechless.
And I was walking back from the gym, back to the dorms we used to stay at, and him and Rod Higgins pulled up on me, and they was all like, MJ specifically was like, you need a ride back over there? I was shaking. I was like, nah, I'm good.
I went to the 8th grade in a new school, and it was like right around the time like the first Air Jordans came out. And Mike was doing commercials with Spike Lee, and it was like this super cool time to get involved, like to love the game. And that was it. I just played hoops every day after that to be with my friends, but also because I totally fell in love with it.
MJ effect.
Yeah.
I mean,
100%.
Dope. You know, the hype of going up against Mike was, okay, let's go. Show me. Like, I've been watching you play my whole life. Yeah. Show me. Like, I want to see this. Everybody calling you Black Jesus and all this other crap. Like, you have to show me, man. And I went out there and we went head up. And, you know, I think his respect and appreciation for me really grew that day because you saw on the biggest stage, I didn't shy away from that confrontation. I looked forward to that confrontation. Look forward to it. You know, Mike wouldn't share information with nobody.
MJ dropped 63 in the playoffs versus the Celtics. What was that game like?
We were just talking about it. It was crazy because that was when I think he came back from surgery and they didn't want him to play. They wanted him to restrict him. And MJ said, I'm a ball player. I'm playing. If I'm on the court, I want to play my 35, 37 minutes. So that's when Gervin didn't play that much. But it was just amazing how he was fresh. I mean, you know, he ain't played 20 games, everybody done played 82. So
nobody, that's crazy. And George Gervin was on the bench when MJ hit 63. Nobody, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was on the bench. But he was in another world, you know. We lost, but he put a show on. He was popping and stopping.
What Larry say? What Larry say?
Tonight, I think I witnessed Jesus on the basketball court.
Oh, Red Bird, yeah. It was tough playing against Boston because they got every call, man. It's amazing. And the floor is bad. They pushing you in the back.
Rephrase that. I don't mean to cut you off. God in the basketball uniform.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
In basketball shoes. God in basketball shoes.
So in Boston, on the court, so DJ, so he not to guide you to the dead spot every time. He'll guide you and get the steal and go down court.
Oh, because he would.
Boston got about 3-4 dead spots. Then you had the old floor.
Yeah.
And DJ knew how to turn the guard. And next thing you know, because he turned him and tried to ball and come up. He took it. But
that's the old parquet flow, E.
and then you play in Boston in the wintertime, they got the windows open.
They got it.
And already cold. It's already about 30 degrees. They make like 0 degrees. It was like they did everything they could for, to have advantage. And so you already got advantage. You got Bird, Kerr, McHale, Harris, and DJ. Like, what more? And you got Red Auerbach looking down. So it was crazy, but it was,
He just hit the shot to beat the Utah Jazz. It is the perfect way to go out. His career is over. He's going into business, retirement, whatever he's going to do with his life. And he comes in, and Jordan doesn't have any shoes. His shoes are off. After every time they won a championship, Tim Halloran, who was the head of PR for the Bulls, would always take Jordan's shoes, and he would keep them. I think he has Jordan's shoes from all the championships. So Michael would come in his socks. His jersey would be untucked, full of champagne, and he always had a Cuban cigar and a big smile on his face. So he's walking in, which I believe is going to be for the last time he'll ever do something like this. He's won a championship, hit the last-second shot, just crushed the Utah Jazz, ripped their heart out. And he comes in. And Phil Jackson is already in there, ready to go on. And Phil is sitting off to my right. And we're in commercial break, and Michael comes in. And Michael says to Phil, "You're going to be around doing this. I'm not." So he's asking Coach if he can go first to do the interview. So he sits down. We do the interview. He loved being challenged. He loved when you had some fun with him. He was competitive that way. He gets up, and we go to commercial break. Phil Jackson gets up, getting ready to sit down. And then I said, "Hey, it's a shame you're retiring, man, because I wanted a piece of you." And he turns. So he's got the basketball, the game ball with him, a cigar. And he said, how would you guard me, MFer? And I got my suit and tie on. We're during commercial break. Phil Jackson's walking over, sitting down. I go, come here. Let me see how you would guard me, MFer. I went, okay. And so I put my forearm in the middle of his back. And he goes, "Is that all you got?" And he gave me this look that yeah. And he just laughed. He said, "You're lucky. I'm retired." And then he walked out the door. So this is 15 minutes after the game, and he just won his championship. And all of a sudden he's staring me down and giving me grief about how I'm going to guard him. But it was funny. I'm putting my forearm in the middle of his back. That's going to do it. No one's ever thought about doing that. I should have just grabbed a hold of his shorts. I'd have had a better opportunity.
The Chicago Bulls pick Michael Jordan of the University of North Carolina.
Michael comes in, he's a college star, he goes to the Olympics, and now it's all these stories of his leaping ability. He's scoring, he's dunking in his rookie year, he's averaging 28 points, and is one of the big stories of the NBA season. By now, the Bulls are owned by Reinsdorf. Jerry sees a lot of opportunities.
They knew they had Michael, but now it was trying to figure out what else worked. That included players and coaches. That was kind of the task that Jerry Krause was given, was to observe what we had and really change the culture. I learned early on that the best thing I could do was compliment Michael.
Jordan, having played only 18 regular season games, goes in and gets 63 points against Boston. That really opens national eyes to, wow, this guy, he's not just a great player, this guy is something different. Larry Bird says this is God disguised as Michael Jordan. Doug Collins is hired as coach. Opening night, they're in Madison Square Garden. Jordan goes over to Doug before the game, says, "Don't worry, coach, I'm not letting you lose this game." Scores 50 points. And from there, takes off on his spectacular season. Averages 37 points. Even though Magic and Bird are winning titles, this guy is the guy that everyone in the league wants to see. This is the most spectacular player in the game. And now the stadium begins to fill up. Bulls tickets become a specialty item. What is he going to do next? The Bulls really enhance upon that. They put together a show that becomes iconic. The Bulls introductions, the Bulls game presentation, things that are going around in the Chicago Stadium. Nobody had done this. This is it's practically unheard of.
Outside of drafting Michael Jordan, the most significant draft was the year that they drafted Scottie and Horace. You could tell that they were going to give us a different dynamic on the floor. Their athleticism, their length was something that we didn't have. Now Michael was really a veteran, and now the younger guys had to come in and really show him that they could play.
The closeness and the bond is just not something that happened overnight, especially when you talk about a guy like Michael, who was globally a huge icon. We just needed that time to bond as not only teammates, but as friends.
The rivalries back then were more significant than they are now, especially in a division, because you played those guys 6 times a year. And it seemed like every time you turned around, you were playing them. They were real rivalries. We, for years, got bullied by the Pistons. It was confrontational. We didn't like them. They didn't like us.
It was a great rivalry. It did a lot for us in terms of teaching us. We knew that we were right there and that there was a few things that we had to do to get over the hump.
It wasn't kind of just handed to us. We had to take our lumps along the way. Every year we seemed to find a little bit more cohesiveness as a team, but it was a process and it involved Doug Collins kind of doing his thing for 3 years, getting us to a spot when hiring Phil Jackson and his teaching and coaching that gave us a little impetus to get to another level.
We had a lot of adversity going into that Game 7, which we thought we could win. We had such a great Game 6 where we demolished them. After that game, there was a lot of long faces. You really got a sense of how important this game was and how important where we needed to be as a group. I remember Jordan stand up at the end of the game and we're in the locker room and he said, "This will never happen again. We'll never lose to this team again."
Yeah, they are. It's the young men, they are interested in some of the star players. When you talk about Stockton or Jordan, we talk about the old rules of, not the new rules, but the old rules of like when you had to go meet Jordan at the rim because you couldn't play zone. And, the game has changed in that way where now you can, play zone. But the players, a lot more players got dunked on. A lot more players got isolated. You were on an island. You didn't have help, and you had to figure out how to stop those great players.
You got a Jordan?
You got
a Jordan story?
You came up short.
You got a Jordan story?
Jordan story. Probably my rookie year. I actually told this story to Chris Middleton. My rookie year, I'm guarding him. And I can just, my heart's about to come out of my chest, and I'm just praying that he just shoots a fadeaway jump shot. But he decided to go baseline, and when he went to jump, all I could think about, this cannot be a highlight. And he just did like a little reverse layup. And as he came down and started running back, he just looked back and winked at me. And I thought, oh, man, this could be a long night.
Here is you had an opportunity to play against Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
And what was that? What was that like?
Well, playing against Michael, at the time, I just didn't have as much of an appreciation for it as I probably do now. At the time, the Knicks and the Bulls were big rivals, and when you're going into competing against someone, as an athlete, anyone you played against, I don't care how old you are, the person that you're playing against, you know how good they are. You know the type of challenge is going to be. Sometimes you might be better than that person. You know that they might have a little edge. They might be taller. So as a competitor, the Knicks were always in a very intense battle with certain teams. One of them was the Bulls when I first got to New York. So I didn't have time to think about and appreciate that you're playing against, probably the best player to ever play. Only thing I was really thinking about was how am I going to make it difficult on him and on both ends as much as possible. Playing against Michael was tough because he was very explosive. He didn't have to dribble the ball a lot. He got to where he wanted to go because he had really good fundamentals. He had really good footwork.
I was just excited mostly because I'm like, it's competition. That's why you're in the league for. Yeah. Competition. I'm like, I need to, try to stop this dude, man. I stopped this dude. I'm going to get a little rep. And, we had success in Houston against him. That was the cool part about it, beating him a couple of times, but super talented player, man. This dude was so good, man. Catch the ball when he wanted to catch it. I remember one game in Chicago in '97 where this dude was jaying me up. 21 in the first quarter. I'm like, Rudy, you gonna send a double team on this dude? And I'm all on him, Will. I'm elbowing him in the joint. He just backing me up. He just fading on me, Will. I'm like, yo.
But Vernon had the most success guarding him, didn't
because Vernon was super athletic, man. I wasn't athletic as Vern. Vern was a football player in high school, quarterback. Vern had 4.9% body fat.
And he looked like he still does.
Vern's motor, it was a different motor. That dude could run all day. He was a special athlete, and he was just in Jordan. He was a guy and wouldn't back down. Well, our team, none of us backed down from them. Nobody was scared of him, you know. We love competing against them, you know. That's why you're in the NBA for it. All these guys want to join each other well and play with each other. No, I want to beat you. I want to beat you. LeBron, you say you the GOAT. Why you joining Bosh and, you know what I'm saying? We wasn't doing that in the 90s.
You know what? Since we're talking about Michael Jordan so much, I want to give you a little recommendation. I'm pretty sure most of you guys are my age or older, so we all grew up on the 80s, 90s NBA basketball. And the one thing that I always liked, back in those VHS days, you always had those videotapes of NBA players. If it was Jordan, if it was Larry Bird, if it was Dominique Wilkins, if it was Elijah Wan, if it was Ewing, Shaq, and so on. And Jordan had a couple of videos, and I took some time not too long ago rewatching those videos like Airtime, Above and Beyond, Come Fly With Me. And I can really recommend you guys, when you're done with this video and you want to kick back on a Sunday and revisit some good old times, all of those videos, you find them on YouTube and so on. And I would just say, really take the time, watch them. It really takes you back.
Got a cat named Michael Jordan who's leading the league in scoring towards the end of your career, a guy that was a low post scorer, and you see the way the fans gravitated to Michael, captivating the NBA universe.
It was just phenomenal. And just the workouts with Michael, this type of intensity and his mental focus, and he worked hard every day. That was a virus. It spread it. Everybody went into working hard. In those early years, it was really a challenge for Michael trying to get past Detroit. But it was really, really nice. Pleasant part of my career, being able to play with
say
Michael.
About your Pacers, that was the scariest game we ever faced. Jalen, are you surprised to hear that your Pacers, who pushed this team to a Game 7, was the scariest game that they ever faced as a team?
I think there was two distinct reasons. And by the way, it wasn't because of me. I was just a bug on the windshield.
No.
It was because of Reggie and Mark, and Rick the Ruler, and the Davis brothers being physical, and Travis Best, and all of those guys that was playing quality minutes. I was just happy to be there, but you ain't gonna put Joe Bushler on me though. You ain't gonna do that.
That's gonna be a bucket.
And so the two things are, one, they had never gone to a Game 7 the previous times they won championships, and the second thing was that was the end. It was a culmination. They knew Scottie was going to get paid. They knew Phil wasn't going to come back. For a lot of people that don't remember, Dennis Rodman wasn't a starter in that series. Toni Kukoc was up front with Scottie Pippen and Luke Longley. And so I understand that we were a team that played them in the regular season. It was 5-5 split. How about that? Playing your guys in your division that many times, 5 times. That creates something. And then playing them 6 times in the playoffs with that Game 7 on their home floor and having that black cat. Man,
let me tell you something,
we could have broke up the second three-peat.
Zach Lowe wrote a great article about this, and in the article he mentioned that you were upset that you didn't see more time, especially in the fourth quarter, which is just very, very much what I experience every day working with you. But if you look at these numbers, see, Jordan is 9 for 25 from the floor. You're 3 for 4 in 16 minutes. Per 48, you're a better Game 7 performer than Michael Jordan. Like, that's a fact. So Michael Jordan, I will give you this. Michael Jordan had a better career than you, but when it matters, in Game 7s, you're just a better, more efficient, higher volume scorer than Michael Jordan. It's a fact. Like, that's just math. It's just that you can't. It's indisputable math. Now, not only has The Last Dance allowed us to reveal this fact about Jalen being a better Game 7 performer than Michael Jordan.
The thing that sticks out to me most is that how quick and strong he was and how quick he got off the ground. So Michael knew kind of what areas he wanted to go to. So when you were defending him, he would kind of set you up one way and get to one spot and just elevate. And
it was really nothing you could do because he got off the ground so quick. And then when he was able to shoot the ball better and better every year, it just made it that much more difficult. And now, you know, kind of understanding more about the triangle offense from working with Phil Jackson and Derek Fisher and the Knicks staff, I have a better appreciation for how he was able to be so effective, because now I can see how he had a very intelligent way to view the game. He didn't have to rush. He kind of set up things on the floor where he was on this side of the floor, but he knew he was going to get to another side of the floor to be in position, and he just was a very athletic but cerebral. He was a smart player. Any fun or competitive stories on and off the court? What about Mike?
Man, Michael. Not anything too crazy. You know, the guys used to tease him a lot, right? So we had a running program, 3 groups. A, quick, young guards. They'd have to run their time, you know, like a 2:20 in 27 seconds. B group, which Michael was in, had to run his in 30. Then the bigs. So the little guys were always telling Michael, the point guards, you got 3 more seconds to make your time. So Michael got tired of hearing that shit. He went and told coach, he said, put me in the A group. He just bust their ass. He was running his shit in 25 seconds. But rookies also had to carry like either film ejector or the boom box. And Michael had the big boom box he had to carry around. One time, you know, I think we had to get on him about Kerrfield. Boy, he was real close to, because, you know, one guy in trouble, the whole team got around. Yeah. Michael was pretty clever. I don't really remember too many. Buzz Peterson, you have to ask Buzz.
That's his boy.
His roommate. I know Buzz used to say, you know, because Buzz was kind of a preppy dresser kind of guy, so he always had the button-down shirt. So Michael used to wear all his clothes. And so Buzz put his shoes on, they'd be all stretched out and messed up. He used to do stuff like that with Buzz.
Hi, my name's Jeffrey from New York.
Yes, Jeffrey.
This is not coming from a Chicago Bulls fan, but when Jordan dunked on you...
Oh, there we go.
When he
Keep going, Jeffrey. I'm listening. I'm not looking at you.
When he dunked on you, were you more mad they dunked on you or they stole your celebration?
Oh, let me get it straight. You know what? Michael and I still talking about this until today, every time we see each other. I always remind Michael that he didn't dunk on me like he did on Patrick and the other guys that he got over there in his video. I think he was more happy to get close to the basket where I was or where I came late. I think for the fact that it took him more than 7 years and a half to get one dunk, you know, that's legit, man. You can ask Michael that why it took you 7 years to pop one on Mutombo. And, I tell Michael, okay, you can celebrate, you got one, but I was too far away when I was coming in. I have to go underneath the basket to try to reach, and I was just late. But I'd say, Mike, why you need to just come, go one-on-one with me and try to see if you can get there. He never tried that.
A lot of players, if they're very athletic, they're not as cerebral because you have to use your speed and strength to get the advantage. Well, Michael was able to do both. He was able to use his intelligence, but also his footwork, his strength, his athleticism to gain the advantage. And the last thing about Michael was that he never took a possession off mentally. If you notice some of your coaches, for those of you who play sports, they will probably tell you that sometimes you kind of drift, and make a couple of mistakes, mental mistakes, and it's natural because as you're growing, those things happen, especially as you get tired.
But Michael was so good at every possession, it was almost like the last one. And when you can get to a point where every possession you're very paying attention to everything on the floor and you're not making mental mistakes, that's when you become really, really good as an individual and as a team, and that's what he was very good
Well,
at.
I don't know if it never happened, but I do know he does take everything personal and everything that he does, cards, whatever. I was in a room with him for, I don't know, 5 hours one time, day of a game. He wouldn't let us leave. Me, Tom Chambers, Ty Corbin. It was an exhibition game, and he would not let us leave. And we were stiff. I called Cotton, said, Cotton, I can't go. He said, that's okay, I was going to hold you out. Tom called him up. Cotton, I'm sore, I can't go. That's okay. I wasn't going to play you. And Ty Corbin wouldn't dare do it, right? I'm not doing it. So Jordan stands up in the room, and he says, you tell that boy Dan Marley, I got something for him tonight. And now I stood up. I couldn't hardly walk. I mean, literally, we had played the night before, traveled that day. I was stiff as a board. He would not. It was Scottie Pippen in the room, Horace Grant. I mean, we just playing this game called Tunk, okay? And we just going at it. And he looked at Tom and I. He said, I'm going to give your boy 40.
In an exhibition game?
Yeah. We like, who? Dan. I'm like, yeah, okay. Whatever. Bet 100. Bet 200. I took the bet. Tom took the bet.
Oh, no.
So he starts the game, and he just going nuts. I'm over there still stiff. I got heat packs under my clothes, man. I'm like stiff. This man's out there going crazy. And Tom and I sitting there looking at him like, this dude is just insane. So he had about 34. And he walks over to the bench, and he catches the ball. He catches it. He looks at Tom and I like, get that money ready. He catches the ball, and Dan's guarding him. He reverse pivots on him, so Dan's got to backed up, and he went right, and he just tried to tear the rim down. Tongue wag, he went down like this, right, and holding up 400. Nobody knew what the 4 was, right? And so we're looking. So timeout, Cotton called a timeout. And Michael came over after the timeout. He said, Cotton, your boys, they were playing cards with me all day. Told on us. So that's why.
Snitched?
Oh yeah. So that's
Jordan
why. Yeah. So that's why y'all not playing. That's why they not playing. And they bet me too. I told them I was gonna give your boy Dan Marley 40, and he had 30. He had 30, 36, 38, and we sitting over there. And Cotton turns to Dan, who's a rookie, right? Because Dan supposedly locked Jordan up, in the Olympics, right? And Cotton looks at Dan and said, Dan, what did you do to Michael? Just messing with him. And Dan was like, I didn't do anything to him. So we fell out laughing. And he went, man, he dunked for the 40 on everybody. And look, what ran past bench, I want my money. Checked himself out the game. The next day, Cotton tried to kill me and Tom, virtually the whole team in practice, because he felt that that's the reason we didn't play.
Oh, my goodness.
So Michael will tell.
Oh, my goodness. Wow. All right.
Jalen, we'll start this recap where they started episode 5, and that is with Kobe Bean Bryant going against Michael Jordan in what was Kobe's first All-Star game in Madison Square Garden. What did watching that behind-the-scenes footage, listen to Michael Jordan discuss Kobe Bryant's game, and then later hear Kobe talk about what a mentor Jordan was, what did that bring up for you?
Well, first and foremost, how we lost the late, great Kobe Bryant so very young, and there was so much more that he was going to give society and the game of basketball and to his family that it's just really tragic that he and all of the people that perished in that accident aren't going to be with us anymore, including his daughter who just, her 14th birthday just passed. So that, Jacoby, that was the thing that came to mind. And also how they knew Kobe was next. And he knew it as well. For a guy really that was barely starting on the Lakers to make the All-Star game and to say you wanted to be the next MJ, you become the remix of him, the next best version. He becomes your mentor, and you go in that a mano in the All-Star game. Like this is a legendary NBA situation, and I'm glad it got exposed.
Oh, no question about it. And even the year that the shot
took place. I think we won 57 ball games that year. And Chicago was in our division, and we played them 6 times. The expansion hadn't happened yet. So, yeah, we won all 6 that year against Chicago. But you meet those guys in the first round, and you got a guy named Michael Jordan that can pull off some miracles. It was definitely an opportunity for us to compete with the Bulls. But, year after year, the Bulls just kept getting better and better. And it was fun playing in the division with them because, back then it wasn't saturated with TV. We just had, a couple of games on TV. But if it was the Cavs and the Bulls playing, it was always going to be on.
Did you ever get anything from him signed?
No. Yes, I did. I was going to say no. But I was like, hold up. Backtrack. Michael Jackson moonwalk. I did get a jersey signed.
You did?
Get a jersey signed. Yes.
I'm surprised that you did that.
It took everything in my fiber to ask the ball boy to go down there and get it. Yeah, it was for a charity thing.
Did he ask for one of yours?
Are you kidding me?
Wouldn't that have been great? Wouldn't that have been great if Mike says, "I'll do it if you give me one of your jerseys"?
You know what's funny? I wonder if Michael Jordan has anything signed from anyone. Like, would he ask Muhammad Ali back when Muhammad Ali was alive?
Yes.
If he would have asked Muhammad Ali for something
Yes.
signed.
Yes.
I'm trying to think of people.
But nobody in
of
the
that
NBA,
stature.
though. It's not like he's going to say to Larry, "Can I get a jersey?" or, Magic. Certainly
You
not
don't think
Isaiah.
He may have asked Magic maybe for a jersey.
I don't know if Mike would hang up jerseys of other people.
Not necessarily to hang up.
Michael
but just
Jordan has an autographed Jesus picture. That's how good he is.
So we're saying Muhammad Ali would probably have been the only person at the time MJ would have asked for an autograph, sports autograph.
Yeah.
I got to ask you, you played with Kobe. You played against Mike. One-on-one in their prime, who's better, you think?
I mean, that's not even that's hands down. I mean, people I give Kobe's props. I think he came in young. So him and Eddie Jones were on the Lakers together. That's all I remember is playing against those two. So both of those guys didn't want to even see me his first 2, 3, 4 years.
Yeah, you killed him.
He grew up, took over the league.
Yeah.
Give him all his, right? You know, I give him props. Mike is a whole different thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a whole.
So you saw Kobe as like a puppy.
I mean, I knew
He was
I
young.
put it like this, man. I see him as a puppy.
Yeah.
So 18 to 22, he was learning his way. Right. He was raw.
He was nice.
And I was
Oh,
still
yeah.
like, that's the nicest 18-year-old I ever played against.
Yeah.
But I was 24, 25. I was a full-grown man. So I was like,
whatever.
I'm gonna serve this kid right now. I don't care who he is. So he went through that.
Yeah.
But what I like about Kobe is that when I got to the Lakers, he was like, let's play one-on-one. I was like, I'm just getting in shape, let me get my body right. I'll get with you in about 30 days. It was training camp.
Yeah.
And he was serious. He's like, let's go one-on-one. And his whole thing, what he told me later, was like, I remember when you used to go at me.
Yeah.
And that's his way of coming back at me. I grew up. I've been honing my skills. I'm ready. So I respect him, and I think he's the Don Dada for that. Of course. But Mike is a whole different thing. So I had to guard them both, and it's not even like Mike, let me go to sleep tonight. Let me chill. Let me rest the next day. Let me stay focused. Let me eat the right things.
Yeah.
Kobe, not saying that you had to switch it up, but I didn't have that fear.
Yeah.
Mike would have, you better bring your game. I could
You
go
had
for
Mike in
50
his
tonight.
prime.
Oh, yeah, Mike in his prime. We went at it toe to toe, head to head.
I know,
loved
yeah,
me.
of course.
Mike was like, man, you never back down. You strong.
Yeah.
Hops, I love you.
Yeah.
God, he put me in his all-star games. Him and Mike loved me, as far as
That's
where I
amazing.
used to come. But Mike is the best player in the world ever. LeBron, Kobe, nobody can fade that.
Yeah.
Nobody can fade that.
Yeah, tell us about when you and Garnett served Michael Jordan, though.
Oh, okay. Barnix, okay. I see him give your man
Yeah,
prepped
something
him.
happened
Your man
here.
prepped him.
I
Okay.
wanna hear about
So
that.
you and KG served Mike?
I would get my 20s, 24s, 25s, 29 on Mike. Mike don't get his 30, 32, 35. You make him add 40. He never got 40 on me, but he did get 35, 36. I mean, he got some money. I try to keep him down to 25, 26, his average. Anything over that,
okay.
Right? So what happened was, we're in Chicago, and I had played against Mike 3 times head up. So KG had never seen me play against Mike.
Yeah.
So we're in the game, and I got about 24 going into the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Mike got about 18, 19.
Okay.
So I'm quiet. I always stay quiet when I play Mike. I didn't talk too much. I mean, if he talked to me, I was going to talk back, but he never talked crazy to me. We just played. But I never talked crazy to him at all, right?
Yeah, you knew better.
So we come out of the fourth quarter, KG like, man, keep going at his ass. Serve him. He can't guard you. He can't da-da-da with you. He can't mess with you.
Yeah,
I was like, I was quiet. I'm looking at him like, just chill. Because Mike was literally right there.
And
Him
KG
Scottie.
was hype. Like
and
KG
he's super hype.
Yes.
You know,
loud.
I'm super hype. So we vibe, right? But I'm like, chill. He's like, man, he looked at me like, man, he can't guard you. Keep going at him. I'm like, man, chill. He's like, what? I was like, he's standing right here, buddy. And KG was like, I don't care. Keep going at him.
Wow,
Too strong for this dude, man. Too strong for him. I was like, wow. So Mike looked at KG, looked at me, looked at KG. I was like, Mike, he don't know the rules of the game, man. He's just a young puppy. You know what I mean? Mike was like, okay, he talking? You know what I mean? I said, man, he don't know the rules of the game.
Yeah.
And Mike looked at him again like, okay. Looked at me like, okay. I said, what you looking at me like that for, right? Went to the fourth quarter, man. That man got about 17 quick. Mad, looking at KG, looking at me, looking at KG.
Motivate him.
I said, look, I got to guard that man. Not you. You know what I mean? Mind you, KG was having a great game on Scottie. We both, KG had about 30, I had about 28.
Yeah.
I mean, we was getting it.
It's amazing.
But KG didn't understand that we don't talk to Mike like that.
No, we don't gas him up. Don't
we
gas him up.
At least I guard that man.
Did you have the opportunity to play against Michael Jordan?
Oh, man, did I. What an honor.
What was that like?
You know, people think that you get on the floor and they're like, oh, yeah, I'm going to beat this guy. I did this to him. I crossed him up. I got on the floor thinking this is an honor. This guy, when I finally started playing basketball, I had posters. I'm not kidding. There are pictures that I have posters of Michael Jordan wall to wall on the ceiling in my bedroom as a kid in high school. And never did I think, I'm like him, but he was just an inspiration. He was the greatest. And at that time, we thought he would be the greatest ever, which I still contend he is and will always be. To get out on the floor, the first thing I said when I got subbed in to play against Michael, and this was the fourth time we played Chicago, my rookie year. I hadn't played against him the first 3 times, didn't get off the bench. So I get off the bench, I pick the splinters out of my backside. And I was ready, though. I studied the game. I helped my teammates out. I said, this is what he likes to do. MJ likes to go left and pull up. He doesn't go all the way and lay it up, but if you let him go right, he's going to dunk it on you. So I'd study the game. Get in, someone asked me, my teammate asks me, who do you want to guard? I'm like, Michael Jordan, are you kidding me? I got Michael. First time I played against him, I played well, and it was interesting because he was calling me UConn. Didn't know my name, but he knew what school I went to. That was, to me, impressive. But it showed how much Michael Jordan was into the game. I remember him saying to me and a couple other my teammates, one of them that played with him, Scotty Burrell, who won a championship with Michael Jordan. He said, and this was early on, before UConn men won any championships, he said, there were a couple of us together, and he says, this is verbatim, Michael Jordan says, oh, you go to UConn too, right? And so we're all like, yeah, he goes to UConn too. He's like, oh, that's where men are men and women are champions. And all of us kind of sat there, we died. Because it was true, and I always remind him of that. I've gotten to know Michael, and we've reminded him that the men have won a couple of championships now since that.
My family in general wanted to meet Mike, so I was like, yeah, let's go over there and meet Mike and say what's up. So I'm introducing everyone. How you doing? How you doing? Meets my kid. So little man says to big sis, she was like, Dad, he's darker than I expected.
I was thinking the same thing, BZ.
Observations.
I was like, what you say? He was like, Dad, he looks darker than I thought. So, he's starting to play video games and you see him, but he got to see Mike live and in person. And I was like, man, that's why they call him Black Jesus, man. Like, that's why he's, that's why he's Black Cat. He's like, oh, okay, yeah. So that was kind of the highlight of Saturday. That was Saturday.
What do you remember as we had Jordan coming from the front office to the court?
Well, I remember that was my contract year. I played 2 years before then, and then that was my contract year. So, he was kind of a guy to help me. I really was going with negotiating my contract, and just so happened we had the same agent. So it kind of helped me out a lot there. Other than that, what I did really, it's still, you know, you grow up seeing Michael Jordan, you grow up watching him as this above human phenomenon, you know, a big fan. And the first time, you know, he comes in the locker room and you're just in awe and stardom, and you can't believe that he's just there. And you happen to, you know, be able to not only have a chance to possibly play with them, but he's there, you know, helping construct and run the team a little bit. And it was just an amazing thing. I pitched myself many times during that first year.
To piggyback off what Jihadi said, it's just you grow up watching this guy going outside. I don't care if he's 6'9", 6'10", like Jihadi. You go out and try to do what he did. Or you're a 6-foot guard, you go out and try and do what MJ did. So to come back and see, you know, him in there, and our lockers was right next to each other, you know, and it was surreal. It was an honor.
When we were both in college, we spent a month one summer playing on a USA basketball team. And I actually roomed with Michael down in Nashville. We trained for a week at Vanderbilt. C.M. Newton was the coach at Vanderbilt at the time, was the coach of this team that we went overseas with. And so I spent some, you know, I obviously spent some time with Michael. Not that I got to know him great, but you know, you could tell how really good he was going to be. But on that trip, we actually went over, and outside of Michael, and we kind of had a misfit group. It wasn't a bunch of big name college players. And we went over the first 2 games we played against the 10 best players in Europe. And if you remember Chichenko, the big Russian, and there's a guy named Delapagic who was like 30 years old, and I mean, a man, you know, and he could score. So we went and played them the first game. We got our butts kicked. I mean, they were men against, it was men against boys. But we then went and played some more equal level teams, and we were in some little gym in this town, Zadar, Yugoslavia, and I made a shot at the buzzer to win it. And I always kind of said to myself, you know what, as time went on, that, you know, Michael probably, okay, that might be one of his first remembrances of me as a player, you know, that I can maybe step up in a situation and do something. So, you know, that's kind of a prelude to your question, but it's, and I always come back to this word, but Michael had to trust you as a competitor. It's really, in my mind, it was that simple. He had to trust you as a competitor. And he didn't like, you know, you be any nonsense in terms of, you know, how you played. He just wanted you to go out and compete.
You know, with all the clips that I always find it super unfortunate that there are so many legends from back in the day who hardly go on NBA television. They never get interviewed. And I would so desperately love to hear what they have to say, what it was like for them to play against Michael Jordan. I mean, we often have Dominique Wilkins. We often have the same guys. But hey, the 80s and 90s had so many legends. I guess it's up to those NBA shows to invite more guys like Joe Dumars and those type of guys, you know? But hey, what can you do? Let's continue with the video.
I know there was this slam dunk contest, but did you feel like you were every bit as good, if not better, than Jordan?
Oh, man, we had plenty of rivals. You know, Michael, all the guys I played against, probably the most fun guy to play against is Michael Jordan, man. Because he raised your level of play, intensity.
Wait, and so fun? I've never heard somebody describe playing against Jordan as fun, Neek.
It was fun. What I mean by that is that I was excited to play against him. So it was fun to go against a great player. Like, of course, the competitive level was a whole different level because we were very competitive. We wanted to kick each other's butt. There's no question about that. And so we had some fierce games that we played against each other throughout our career. We, against one another in our careers, we averaged over 30 a game against each other in our career. And so when I say fun, that's the atmosphere that's what basketball is about, to play against somebody like that.
I don't remember you talking when you played. Did Michael talk?
I didn't talk much. You know, it's certain times that you talk. You know, Mike get under your skin. You know, he might say a little bit, but he really he wasn't a big time trash talker. He didn't have to be. But if he talked trash, you know, it was try to get in your head or somebody he didn't like. So, but other than that, nah, he didn't talk a lot.
Does LeBron have to do something, or can he do something where you would go, now I would look at him as the best player?
No, I think he certainly, you know, just off the cuff, he's certainly the top 5 of all time. But playing against him and MJ, I think for me, it's MJ all day long, only because how I played against him, and, you know, MJ just had everything, you know, from mid-range to three-point to post-up game, and he could score and dominate in each position.
Was he mean to you?
No, he wasn't. He actually killed me slowly, and yeah, he would comment to the coach, he's actually doing a great job out here, and meanwhile he's scoring in 45.
Wait, he's talking to your coaches?
Yeah, I remember Chris Ford, he's yelling at me. Chris Ford's yelling the whole time. He's like, rookie, get in front of him, get in front of him. And I'm fronting him on the post, and MJ just kind of slowly kind of glides across the floor, and he gets the ball and shakes and scores. And I did everything the game plan said, and then there's a break in action. We're sitting there, and, you know, Chris Ford is just down there just hammering me, and MJ was like, he's doing a great job, coach. He's actually doing a great job. Meanwhile, he's got 45 on the books. So I was like, yeah.
Did you think that Mike didn't want you taken out because he had 45 in the books? Like, he wanted you to guard him?
No, I honestly believe that he didn't think that anybody could stop him. He could score whenever he wanted to score, wherever he wanted to score. So it didn't matter what I did.
This was the crazy part. That was the same year Michael Jordan came back.
Yeah.
That was when he came back. I think he came back. He was in 20 games into coming back when I got there. And like I said, I played the last 14. And then we end up, the crazy part, because playoffs now and injuries, rosters, it's changed big time. Because back in the day when I played, if you was injured, once you went on that roster,
you stuck.
On the injury list, you stayed on for 5 games.
Yep.
No matter who got hurt, you got hurt, still can't bring him out for 5 games. Game, second round, we play Michael Jordan there.
Yeah.
That's when Nick Anderson
stole the ball.
Yeah. To this day, until I saw what was the Last Dance, I did not know Nick Anderson said
he wasn't the same.
45 is not 23. Oh, Lord. I would have said, man, y'all, you don't shut the What is you doing? You don't get this man no feel. What is you doing? So when I saw that, I was like, oh, my God. I say, so game 2.
All that time you never knew
No,
that?
never knew it. Never knew it. Because I was newcomer still.
Yeah.
So game 2, never forget. I say, I was always a Michael Jordan fan. Game 2. He comes out, keeps his top on, got his pants off, shorts on, and then they do the announcement.
Took that shit out, had that 23 on.
They did the announcement. He said, "Wearing number 45, Michael Jordan." Yeah, crowd go crazy. You know, we at home, but it sounded like we in Chicago because of him. So he kept his top on. Boy, both teams broke out of the huddles. Coming to the court, that motherfucker took out that damn thing. I saw 2-3. I said, oh, Lord, we in trouble. Superman's in the building, back cat, whatever you want to call him, Jesus. We in trouble tonight. So they ended up winning game. They won game 2.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord. I saw that 2-3. I was like, ooh.
Like, time out, this is what I want to know, because you know how, we all know how it is in the league, and especially in that position, like where you like, I ain't playing like, what was the chatter at the end of the bench? Like, oh, shit.
I don't know. I just know I was excited. I don't know what they were saying.
I'm ready to watch this shit.
Because I was sitting there like, I ain't got to guard him. Like, y'all got to guard him. Good luck.
I'm about to see some shit.
Remember Bernie Mac saying, you're doing a good job. Keep up the good luck. Good luck. So they end up beating us.
Yeah.
I know how we felt playing against Jordan. Like, Jordan was the most dominant player in our era. And we would talk for hours on the phone watching him play against another team, you know, just admiring him play. But at the same time, it was like there were things that he did in the air that we just couldn't do. You mentioned Jordan. Did you notice his body language?
He's still on alert. He's still on alert, like he's sitting in the film room.
How was it like playing against MJ your rookie year? Shaking in my boots. First time. shaking in the first time I had to guard. I'm like, yo, man, first of all, let me go back. 1997, MJ them in the playoffs. I think they played against the Hawks, right? I'm at the game, playoff game. Bro, I got an opportunity to go in the back by the locker room after the game. So I'm standing back there. I'm 17 years old, kid. I've never been around NBA players like this, or even, I've never been around somebody like MJ. So I'm standing back there, kid, and Pip comes out. All these players start coming out. Mike comes around that corner. Bruh, I ain't gonna lie to you. The man had a glow, bro. I swear, Mike, dog, that shit is real. I believe it. That shit is real.
I got a question. This young generation thinks a certain way. Who is your GOAT basketball?
Here we go.
It's funny that everybody asked that question. And to me, I think Michael Jordan is the best in my era. The way that he played, everything that he brought to the table, not to take anything away from LeBron or Kobe. LeBron is great, but Michael was a killer from day one. He was an assassin from day one. I thought that LeBron had to learn how to be an assassin. He was great now. Like, if you ask me who would I want to play with, I'm going to say LeBron.
Because you want to score.
Yeah, I want to score. I want to score. LeBron is a lot like Magic. He's a facilitator. He knows how to get people the ball, and he became a scorer as he got older. But he's great. But I'm going to say Michael.
Got a Michael Jordan story for me before we say goodbye?
Yes. During our time with the Knicks, there was no layup rule. And every time someone went to the basket, there was going to be a challenge in some form or fashion, whether it was standing in front of a guy or going to try to meet him. And so Michael Jordan this time was going to the basket, and I decided that, hey, it may be a good idea to try to go over and block his shot again. Unfortunately, that time I got put on a poster and with the fat lip. And then I always ask how many people have that story. So I'm just grateful to have great Michael Jordan stories because that meant that I was there in the building.
So you got a fat lip and he dunked on you?
Yes, he did.
But you know what? Michael doesn't have a Heisman, Charlie.
That is true.
Yeah.
This is how cold MJ is. I'm giving y'all, I've never said this. One dude, this got word around, MJ, we all hanging out afterwards. One street dude come up there, got a bag of honey. MJ, let's gamble. MJ looked at him. Said, I ain't got a lot of time. Slip a coin for it, heads or tails. Dude looked at that $100. I'm good. He thought he was gonna go back and forth with him. MJ ain't got time for that.
100 racks?
He looked and said, let's flip a coin for it, heads or tails. Which one you call it? Right. He looked at that money like you could tell he had all the hood's money. He was like, man, I can't do this. I have no flip. He looked.
But when you look at Jordan up close, when you're watching him with the Dream Team, it felt like that was the coming out party where Larry and Magic had already passed the baton to Mike, and he was the best player in the game and dominating probably those pickup games. What was your first impression when you see Jordan or you're trying to guard him?
My first impression of Jordan and my lasting impression of Jordan is how much effort he put forth on the defensive end. People don't talk about that enough. You get on Facebook and it shows his dunks and his offensive plays, but you got to remember, I think he was first team, all defensive team, 8, 10, 12 years? I mean, people don't stress that enough. And Michael Jordan was the greatest defender also. And look at the effort Kobe Bryant put forth on the defensive end. And that's where the differences are made. the small little things in the game that make a huge difference. Playing defense hard, playing defense the right way.
So let's start with this. So when you broke into the league, Michael was retired. Then he came back. Do you remember? Because a lot of people, Penny, thought you had a lot of Michael Jordan. A lot in your game. Very vertical. Could handle the ball. Could drive to the basket. Could play above the rim. Could shoot a jumper. Do you remember your first meeting with MJ?
Yes, I do. I remember that I was hearing rumblings about him coming back, and the game that he came back, I think it was at Indiana, and I got super excited because I hated that he was retiring when I was coming into the league, and then he came back. I was like, now I'm going to get an opportunity to play against who I thought was the greatest player of all time, and to see how I could test my skills against him. And the first game that we played against him, I felt like I had to get my respect in that game. And I think we beat them. I had like 36 points, and we beat them that game at Orlando.
Now, so when he came back that first year, people forget this. Your Magic beat those Chicago Bulls. It's as if that series never happened, Penny. It just disappeared into the ether. But let's go back to that series. So Michael comes back. You actually are the kings of the East. So talk about that series. And was Michael at his best? Was he still working himself into shape? Take me back to that series.
No, Michael was not at his best. He was not the Michael Jordan that we all knew all those years when he had a rhythm. When he came back, he was rusty, and rightfully so. He changed numbers. He was wearing number 45 because of his baseball number. And then he changed to number 23 in game 2 and played a better game, but you could just tell he was very rusty. He did not like the new arena. He was the old Chicago Stadium guy. He had never – the United Center was not his type of a building when he first came back. He was having problems shooting the ball off the glass. He didn't like the rims. He didn't like the bigger arena. It was like a lot of things that were like a factor for us, for sure, that were just, he wasn't himself, and we had all those things working against them and helping us and working for us, and we beat them in that series.
Now, it's funny. Then the following year, Michael's back to being Michael. He's now not in baseball shape. He's in basketball shape. So when you look at your games against him, when he was back to Michael, and you're this fledgling young superstar, what was he like to face? Was he tougher to guard, or was he a better defender? Like, where did he give you the most trouble?
Well, everybody's saying that people are overstating things when it comes to Michael Jordan. Well, once he was really hurt losing that series to us, and that entire summer we were on his mind because he felt like we were the new up-and-coming guys that he was going to have to beat. He had already gone through, the Pistons and, Boston and all these guys, the Lakers. He's gone through these guys to finally get to where he really needs to get to. And then he wins 3 championships and then retires and then comes back. And this young team now is like the big dog on the block. And playing in that series the following year, he came back with a vengeance. Even though we had injuries, he was a totally different player, tougher to guard, and he was so tenacious on defense because it was more personal.
Michael, that was the hand check era, Penny. People always say Michael was stronger than people on TV thought. Did you sense that?
Yeah, for sure. Strong hands, big hands. And when you can hand check somebody, you definitely could push them in an area where they didn't want to go, and you'd have to fight that off and try to resist that. But, yeah, he was very strong because he started working out and getting bigger and bigger every year.
Yeah. When you watch the documentary The Last Dance, Penny Hardaway, the Memphis head basketball coach entering his 3rd year, are you learning any new things about Michael? Anything new?
I think playing golf with him since he's been retired, I kind of learned some things about him that are kind of like in The Last Dance, like a lot of the stuff. Like he came out and said a lot of people are going to think he's an asshole, because of the last Dance.
Yeah,
he's just so competitive, and he just speaks his mind. And Michael has a really good sense of humor, always looking for a joke or to say something. The thing that really shocked me was the Jerry Krause situation where he and Pippen were really just ragging on Jerry Krause as much as they could. That doesn't usually happen with the players in the GM.
Yeah. I was in the LeBron, Kobe, dunking, and I was at the tail end. Right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I played with these guys. Right. I've seen all the 3-point balls go up. They can't. Jordan, no way. Jordan averaged 50.
You believe Jordan would average 50?
50.
It was funny. I was talking to James Worthy, not the name drop on you, Scott,
That's all right.
but I was talking to the name of James Worthy, and he was like, "Can you believe skinny little Michael is Michael Jordan?" And I was like, "Yeah," because I'd been around since 1982, and to see him become what everybody models themselves after, and I'd gone years of saying, he was the best in the 90s, Dr. J, Oscar Robertson. I just had to admit it. You know, I'm not going to get to do this again. He was the greatest basketball player in the NBA history.
Mentality of Kobe versus Michael Jordan in practice at the Olympics. Is there a discrepancy? Like, is there similarities that they sort of attacked when they came in, that practice was a game to them?
No, I think they're probably two of the most similar great players in the history of our game. I mean, and one, they really, they were just super talented, but they were also incredibly prepared. And I don't think anybody was any more competitive than those two guys. So they were that all the time. That was their personality. And when they were on the court, and it meant something in practice or in a game, they were all business. They wanted to be great, not good.
The crazy thing is, if you compare Michael Jordan to LeBron James, and you hear NBA legends talking about LeBron and you hear NBA legends talking about Jordan, even if you're not a Michael Jordan fan, and this is just my personal opinion, but the fear that people mention when they talk about Michael Jordan, I never heard that of any legend talking about LeBron James. They all say that he's great, he's super smart and all this kind of things, which I totally give him. But nobody was afraid of LeBron. You have the feeling that people were calling in sick when they had to play against MJ. And I actually know from some players that I spoke to that this was actually a real thing. Some players did that, just like Ronnie Cycli had the Shakitis virus, so to speak. Anyway, that is always something that I always found very interesting, the fear factor about Michael Jordan. But hey, let's listen to more stories.
How effective would Jordan's mid-range game be in this era of basketball?
Jordan's mid-range in this era? Man, let me tell you something. Players always make the adjustment. He averaged 30, 32, 35. Man, come on. Jordan would average more points. And in an era where we shot more threes, who can forget that memorable finals game when Jordan made, 5, 6, 7 threes against the Trailblazers and gave them this? I mean, people act like Jordan couldn't shoot threes. He would destroy the league now. I mean, he would be setting all-time records. There'll probably be a season he averaged 40 in this era, especially the way he got to the line. His mid-range will be most effective.
One game that, ironically, this may sound a little bit odd, but it's probably more than any other game. That's the game I look forward to the most. Because you knew that night you had to be at your absolute best. And so if there's something, anything, a matchup or whatever, that's going to bring out the best in you, if you're a true competitor, that's what you really want. And so for me, it was the one game I look forward to more than any other game to play against him, because he was everything that you just described with LeBron. I was listening to you. Yeah. That's about the way it is. Yeah, like any slip up, any lull, any mistake that's made, you're gonna exploit it. You're gonna take advantage of it. So you had to be so keenly locked in, game plan, here's what we're doing, here's where I need to be. And you would be furious if somebody didn't rotate they were supposed to, because you knew, look, I'm trusting that you're gonna be there. And so, because if you're not there, dude's about to do some, he's about to do something, real freaky here.
I mean, you witnessed it.
Yeah, I saw it. I did. But I'm like, man, when people say he averaged 40, 45, I'm like 50. I'm like, man, do y'all know how many points that is?
Yeah, winner takes ball. Winner take out. Winner takes ball.
Okay.
No, that one. So
why would it never happen?
Because Michael Jordan was all defensive first team 9 times.
Okay.
LeBron James was 5 times.
Okay.
Michael Jordan led the league. I'm gonna answer your question.
Okay.
So Michael Jordan led the league in scoring 10 times.
Okay.
10. LeBron James led the league in scoring One.
Okay.
So I'm talking about a guy who's been the best offensive player and the best defensive player.
So it'll be Magic and the Lakers, Michael and the Bulls. It is a marquee get-together.
Michael against Magic. This is my first time to the finals. Hopefully we can win, but it's going to be challenging.
Here's Jordan over Scott. The look away to Livingston. Jordan. Oh, a spectacular move by Michael Jordan. That's 13 consecutive field goals.
The tongue is out. Something bad about to happen to the Lakers. Let me change up and entertain a little bit right now. Woo!
We're down to 2 minutes left in overtime. The spin by Jordan and hits on the reverse. Chicago Bulls have returned the favor, beating the Lakers at the Forum. Jordan. Yes, it counts.
It's too late under the basket with Jordan attacking the way he does.
Coming up on 2 minutes remaining in this first quarter. Jordan off the steal. Final seconds. Magic's three-point attempt blocked. Pippen comes away with it. And the Chicago Bulls have won their first ever NBA championship. And Michael Jordan has answered a couple of questions. There have been doubters over the years whether a team led by Jordan could win a championship.
Anyone who ever questioned whether Michael Jordan was willing to give up and sacrifice for a championship was completely wrong.
Portland and Chicago. They were the favorites in November, and now they meet in June. For the Bulls, back-to-back titles would certify their greatness and earn them a place in the NBA's pantheon of all-time best teams.
The Bulls only 2 of 11 from the field. Jordan again from three-point land. Shot clock, the 5. Here's Pippen setting up Jordan wide open for another 3. Blazers get back. Pippen back for Jordan again for 3. Jordan for 3. That's his 4th three-point field goal. Jordan for 3. Yes! That is an NBA Finals record. 5 three-pointers in a half. The steal by Pippen. And Jordan. 32 for Jordan. Here's Jordan for 3. Yes! Did you see that look? Michael indicating he can't believe it.
And just let us know that, hey, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling good. It's my game. I love it. I love it.
Here's Kukoc for 3. Paxson with the rebound. Time running down. The Chicago Bulls have won the NBA championship for the 2nd straight season.
Welcome to the NBA Finals. In the case of the Chicago Bulls, it's welcome back for the 3rd year in a row. They seek, as you know, to become only the 3rd team to win 3 NBA championships in succession.
Chambers blocked from behind by Jordan. Bulls have hit 6 of the last. Oh, what a pass. Jordan for Grant.
Michael with eyes all over the place, sees the entire floor. Well, he certainly elevates his game here as he finishes with the right hand.
Grant with the block. Jordan around Mullin. Jordan all the way. Yes.
He's going to dunk on 2 guys. You got to get to Michael sooner. You know he's going to take off from there, elevate, and keep flying to the front of the rim.
There is a 7-second disparity between the shot clock and the game clock. Jordan, yes, and it counts.
It would have been better for Charles to foul him all the way than halfway foul.
And Michael Jordan with 55 points has tied Rick Barry for the 2nd highest total in an NBA Finals game. Pitches back to Frank Johnson. Rebounded by Michael Jordan. Now Frank Johnson, not the man that the Suns would have wanted to take that shot, and Jordan was able to go the distance.
They want Michael to get a full head of steam, try to keep him in the middle of the floor.
Well, Pippen got the snap. Here's Paxson.
having played against him at the time, how good was Michael Jordan on the Washington Wizards?
Pump fake Jordan?
The very same.
Man, pump fake Jordan was still lethal. Man, I thought I was one of them, I remember my first time playing against this. I didn't get the luxury of playing. I got in the league in '98, but it became a lockout and he retired. So I was so distraught. You know what I'm saying? And she got a chance to play against him. You know what I'm saying? When they was winning championships, so his experience was gonna be different. But I remember for me, I got a chance to play against the Washington Wizards, Jordan, for the first time, and I was stoked. I was so excited and happy. And I think we ended up beating them? We might have beat them.
Mm-hmm. We beat them in Chicago.
And he didn't have the best game, but I remember the first time I was on the island with him, I was just so excited, and he kind of got an angle on me, and he got the pump fake of me and get into his shot. And we still had 20-something on us, and I was just saying to myself, like, man, 87 Jordan was probably so different than 2000, and you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I think it might have been 2001, 2002 Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you just couldn't imagine. So I was just like, man, but I was just thankful to play against him. But he wasn't as fast, but he knew how to get to his spot, and he was so deceptive, and he just knew angles, and he still killed us or whatever. But I can only imagine playing against the '90s Jordan when he was really had that pop and had that athleticism. It would probably been totally different.
Oh, it damn sure was. I did both. And so it damn sure was, in that 95 year, my rookie year, we would have faced them in the playoffs, but when I was out there, United Center, that's when they was in their heyday, and you going in, and they playing the music and got the banners up with all the smoke. You like, damn, this shit looked just like this on TV when I was watching it. You know what I'm saying? And he was a phenomenal player then, but I think he was a little bit more dangerous when he was with the Wizards. He didn't have the athleticism that we were used to seeing MJ have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I'm with Bonzi. His angles were a little bit more sharp. You wasn't going to move him. He was a strong 2-3 guard. You wasn't going to just move him lightly. And his shot became more dangerous.
Give me your best Michael Jordan story.
Michael Jordan story. You guys remember Anthony Peeler?
Yes.
Okay, so
out
we
of
got
Missouri, right?
Out of Missouri.
Yeah.
So we got Chicago Bulls coming in town, and unfortunately, I got a sprained ankle. And so.
Did you say fortunately?
Unfortunately.
Oh, okay.
Unfortunately, I enjoy guarding Mike because he was, the one thing I did with Mike is I never got him pissed off. He make a shot, you say, "Good shot, Mike." You don't talk trash to him so he can go off for 60. You can try to kill him with kindness.
Yeah.
You don't try to talk trash to him. So they're getting off the bus. We're done with shoot around and we're walking out. And MJ says, "B. Scott, what's going on?" I said, "What's up, MJ?" He said, "Man, I hear that you're not playing tonight." I said, "No, I sprained my ankle." He said, "Who's guarding me?" I said, "Anthony Peeler." He said, "Oh, 50. So I told Anthony Peeler, "Listen, MJ, he's probably gonna go for about 50 tonight on you. So just don't piss him off. Just be cool." He ended up with 54. So the man could do basically whatever he wanted to do on that basketball court.
How many times did you face the Bulls when they had Jordan, Pippen, and Rodman?
I don't know the number of games off the top of my head, but I'll tell you this. My career was 1990 to 2000. I was in the Eastern Conference for a good part of that. They won 6 titles during that time. I saw more than my share of those guys. And to this day, one of the most, intimidating things you faced as a player, they were the only team I ever played against in the NBA that pressed after free throws and got away with it. When you got Rodman, Pippen, Jordan, Ron Harper picking you up in the backcourt in a 1-2-1-1 trap with that kind of length, it was amazing to see point guards sort of just run up the floor and wave at you like, "Yeah, get it, legs. You got it. Bring it up." Because that first pass in the deep corner, and you turn and you got Rodman running at you with Scottie Pippen, and it was like an eclipse. So yeah, I saw more than my share, and to this day, that's the greatest defensive team that I certainly ever played against. But I think that's the best defensive team I've ever seen to this day. Were those mid-90s Bulls teams?
But the best defender out of that group was who?
Scottie Pippen. I think Scottie Pippen is the best defensive player, maybe outside of Bill Russell. And again, a guy I didn't see play, but obviously different roles. Scottie Pippen's the best defender I've ever seen because he was not only the best individual defender, he was the best team help defender as well. The ground he covered, his IQ, his communication, his instincts, combined with 6'8", fingertips touching both sidelines, kind of a nightmare. You know, you came off screens. I played against him. He'd switch. Jordan be on me. They'd switch on the baseline and come off a down screen. I knew I had enough separation to get a clean shot off because I'd done it a million times in my life. Catch, turn, pivot, turn, left shoulder, go to square up, and all of a sudden this arm would come out of nowhere. And now you're going up and you're having to make a pass in midair. That was the recover ability of Scottie Pippen. He was special, one of a kind in the way that he covered ground out there.
You ever make Jordan mad?
Yes, I did, because Jordan loved to gamble defensively. And so he would turn his head a lot.
Gamble.
Yeah, he did. He did. That's why I threw defensively in there, because there's another level of gambling Michael likes as well. But he was the kind of guy that, you know, he'd be guarding me, and obviously I wasn't going to do a ton off the dribble against a guy like that. So he knew kind of I was going to spot up and wait. He loved to turn his head, and did he love to rake down in the post, try to go get Chris Webber, Juwan Howard, Rasheed Wallace, get those guys from behind when they'd make a move to the middle. I would relocate. Ball would come out, get some space. So, yes, I remember a game which I hit a couple of threes because he turned his head and left me. And I remember after the second or third one, running down the court and Michael saying to me on the way down the court, well, that's it for you. I'm not leaving you again. And it was pretty much like the equivalent of, I guess, the water company shutting your main off. Like, your water is shut off.
I've ever seen. I believe he's the best player I'll ever see. I believe he'll be the best player a million years from now. I really believe that. I believe he is the best ever.
Start with Michael Jordan. I mean, obviously, look, he's going to have some success against everybody. But as we watch some highlights here, take us through what's the approach? What are you trying to do? What are you thinking about with Michael Jordan across the way?
Well, first of all, I'm really nervous about these highlights because those are the three of the best players in the history of the game. But Michael Jordan, I did guard him a little bit when I was in Detroit. And, of course, I guarded Scottie a lot. But he was so efficient, was able to get what he wanted. And he did most of his domination was in that mid-post area.
Oh, watch out, you here.
He got the shot that he wanted. Whether it was from mid-range,
can we show some misses?
I mean,
look like Mike was working you over in them highlights.
They didn't get me. I got him on the other end, you know what I'm saying? But Michael was so great, and what I loved about Michael, he just was efficient. He got the shot he wanted. Whatever you threw at him, he had a counter. He really didn't have a weakness in the mid-post and in the mid-range.
I really like Michael Jordan, and he and I are friendly. Mm-hmm. And he never changes. He just doesn't change. He's the same guy all the time. And I still see him every once in a while. And this guy has done more spectacular things than any basketball player I've ever seen.
I agree.
I mean,
that's Jerry. That is saying a lot.
I agree.
Consider
I've ever seen.
You've seen a lot. I know. I mean, just to go, like I said, we've worked backwards, obviously, from where he is now to where you were as a player. That speaks volumes, especially, I mean, number of years with the Lakers, player, visor, I mean.
You know, Terrell, the thing that people don't realize is some of the stuff he could do. He was the best defensive.
When did you know that Michael Jordan was better than you?
Well, I was, in his documentary, I say that, I was better than Michael Jordan for about 3 weeks. It took about 3 weeks for him to, because he always thought out the best, whether it was backgammon, chess, cards. He wanted to know who the best was. So I saw him, come in. And one of the things I think is missing is that you don't have these college coaches anymore that are ripping your egos away immediately. You're going to be a part of this team. And Michael bought into that. And with his talent, Coach Smith just elevated. I tease him a lot, though. He couldn't win another one without me. But I knew he was because he was a late bloomer, Dan. He really had a lot of talent, and then it just surged as he kept growing and getting older in the NBA.
But that's tough because you're the college player of the year, right?
Yeah. Along with Ralph Sampson. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So all of a sudden Mike comes in and you go, okay. And then all of a sudden you go, damn. Okay.
Yeah. I knew he saved us. I knew it was right around the ACC tournament. He started to really, make himself known against Virginia, and some of those guys, Lee Raker and Jeff Lamb, those guys, Michael hit some big shots, okay? If you go back and look at that game, when you look at the Georgetown game, we were kind of, losing a little bit. He hit a big left-hand shot over Ewan, one from the corner. And then, of course, the big shot he hit in Georgetown. I had to be the decoy, of course. That's why he was wide open. But yeah, I knew he had it, man.
The Bulls are on the verge not just of a championship, but of the completion of one of the golden seasons in the history of American team sports.
Well, they haven't been able to capitalize on that. Gary Payton has struggled offensively.
Oh, Michael Jordan with the high arcing jump shot. Jordan, yes.
Inside, outside, everywhere. He is really feeling it right now like nobody can cover him.
Off the mark, badly missed. Rebound Robin, streaking out Jordan. Goes to the hole, tap on his backside. Jordan climbs into the air and tamps it down with the right hand.
Rebounded by Rodman.
Jordan behind the back to beat Kukoc. That goes right at Wingate. What a move by Michael Jordan.
Able in midair to collect himself, go behind his back. A spectacular Michael Jordan play.
7-year-old Jeffrey Jordan holding up the Happy Father's Day Dad sign. We're in the final second. The Chicago Bulls have won the 96 NBA championship. An emotional moment for Michael Jordan. I would think there is a tie-in with his late dad on this Father's Day.
I can't even put it in words. On Father's Day, what it means to me. I know he's watching. To my wife, and to my kids, and to my mother, my brothers and sisters. This is for Daddy. I'm very happy for him.
The motivation that I have is that we've been to the finals 4 times and we're 4 straight. This is the 5th time we're going to make it 5 out of 5.
We're down to 5. Jordan putting moves on Russell. We're down to 2. Down to 1. Here's Jordan. Yes! It is all over. The Chicago Bulls have won at the buzzer in Game 1 of the best of 7 on the jump shot by Michael Jordan.
At 3:30 this morning, Michael Jordan woke up with flu-like symptoms. I talked to him, I said, how do you feel? He said, I really feel horrible. His history in games where he's either been hurt or sick has been bad news for the opponent.
And the steal by Jordan. Putting behind the back on Russell. He turned it around and fed it to Pippen. And home by Jordan. What a play by Michael Jordan.
Getting out and flying.
Jordan fires for yes. And he's tied the game. And you can see how exhausted Michael Jordan is.
He won't even take the Gatorade.
He doesn't want to waste any energy. No high fives, no lifting water to his mouth. He is exhausted.
Pippen backing Hornacek. Here's Jordan. Yes! Michael Jordan from straight away. A courageous, classic performance by the flu-ridden Michael Jordan. A performance that I think will go down as one of the greatest of his career because of the situation. It is Michael Jordan time. Checks the clock. 5 on the 24. Here's Jordan. Did not have the shot. Kerr does. Have won their 5th championship in the last 7 years.
He was just one of those players that just didn't have any weaknesses in his game. When he first probably came in the league, everybody talking about he wasn't a good outside shooter. He became a good outside shooter. Everybody talked about he couldn't shoot the 3-point shot. He became a decent 3-point shooter. Down low, didn't have a post-up game, developed a post-up game. They say he wasn't truly a good ball handler. Yeah. Became a good ball handler. Defensively, he was just incredible on that end of the court. And so, but he's probably, I think what separated him from everybody is that his mind. You know what I mean? He was probably one of the most, I want to say, well, not brilliant, but probably one of the most intellectual basketball players that I didn't play against. He's always thinking the game. He's always thinking ahead. And you could just see. And his mind is always working, you know what I mean? And I would say this, he probably was the best fundamentally sound superstar that I done played against, you know, from the standpoint of he didn't do a lot. He just got the spots on the court, you know what I mean? It's just like a surgeon. He just get over here, I want to get a shot there, pump fake you, take 1 or 2 dribbles, I'm gonna get to that spot, you know what I mean? And so you never see him, hardly see him take a bad shot.
And Smitty can attest to this. We had to guard him, you know, 35 to 40 minutes a game. And he was the Shaq of shooting guards because there's no way you were going to move him off the post. He was cat quick, and on top of that, he was going to embarrass you in front of your family and friends. So having said all that, if I'm starting a franchise, not only do I want to put people in the seats, because Michael will do that, but his skill level was so far ahead of everyone else. I'm going with him.
Shit, I got into it with MJ. Mike. Yes. Mike's son.
So, after giving you guys this XXXXL version about Michael Jordan stories, I'm still wondering, what can I do after that? I'm still aiming for that 3-hour video, and there will be some more clips. I mean, every once in a while you have NBA players talking about Jordan, and every once in a while there's some new stories coming out, and I think it's just interesting to see how many people have made the same experiences. I mean, Jordan is just Jordan. Anyway, you guys, let me know in the comments below if you want to see more Michael Jordan content. I appreciate you watching, and I hope I see you next time on the Basketball Time Machine.